Sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell her 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine.
If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE.
Main office, Jacksonville.
Eat Your Yard Jags is a local nonprofit with a mission to empower people to eat local 1 yard at a time by providing resources and education to allow everyone to enjoy urban agriculture. Visit us at our edible plant nursery and demonstration site open to the public every Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4. We also provide employment opportunities to a marginalized population in the special needs community. For more information about us and what we do, call 904-343-9575 or visit eatyyardjags.org.
Having someone to talk to can change a life.
Cried out to her. She talked me through my depression.
Or even save a life.
I probably wouldn't be here at all. Not only in this room, but just not here at all if I didn't have the help.
If you need someone to talk to, Jewish Family and Community Services is here with in-person trained counselors or through teletherapy. JFCS is here for Jags. Visit jfcsjags.org.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Do you have what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur? How much do you know about marketing, finance, and business planning? Are you interested in learning more? Then we invite you to take part in the Achieve Your Business Dream workshop offered by SCORE in conjunction with the Jags Chamber. Conducted over 4 consecutive weeks, this workshop provides invaluable information on a range of business-related subjects. If you'd like to learn more about how to enroll the next time this workshop
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A future Pro Football Hall of Famer has apparently played his final game. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting Eagles center Jason Kelce told his teammates after the wild-card playoff loss to the Buccaneers that he will retire. Asked if he's concerned about his job status, Eagles coach Nick Sirianni said he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about the guys in the locker room. Quarterback Jalen Hurts answered to if he wanted Sirianni back for another season. He didn't know his coach was going anywhere. Philadelphia needs to think beyond 2024 when it comes to a call on Sirianni, suggests ESPN's Louis Riddick.
Is he really the guy that you want leading the charge going down the stretch here in terms of like a couple of years from now? Or is Bill Belichick in play? Is that the kind of guy who needs to be in play here? Because personally, I think it's something that you definitely have to consider.
ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick on Get Up. Belichick has interviewed for the Falcons head coaching job, the first known interview since mutually parting ways with New England after 24 seasons. ESPN's Pete Thamos reporting Arizona's agreed to a 5-year deal to make San Jose State's Brent Brennan the school's next head football coach.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you which underdog has the best chance to pull off the upset in the divisional round. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Wow.
You like that?
I like that.
New way to start the show, Case. New year, new us.
It is the 16th of the new year. But hey.
Late start. I've always been a procrastinator.
You know, they say late start, early finish, buddy.
They always say late is great. No?
Do they? I don't
think I ever heard that either.
Yeah.
Just trying. Working out new phrases for a t-shirt. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Brent and Friends. ESPN 690. I'm Aaron Schachter.
Hey.
That wonderfully soothing, amazing voice, the dulcet tones you hear besides mine, belong to one Kasey Kuhrts.
Hey.
How you doing, bud?
Buddy, I'm here.
It's been a big weekend, Case. Big playoff football weekend, wild card weekend.
Yeah, man. A lot of good stuff. I have a question for you.
Oh, we're starting right off with a question.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
They got you, buddy. They got you.
You thought Steven Smith was hot to trot about Jason Whitlock. Yeah, you should have waited till the Cowboys played.
Do people call him Steven Smith?
Smith.
It just sounds odd without the A.
Well, Steven Smith, you don't really need the middle initial all the time. The only reason he needed it is because he talked a lot of basketball. There's a Steve Smith already in basketball, Stephen A. Smith.
Is that how that happened?
Or Stephen A. I'm assuming. I don't know.
Huh.
Anytime you throw letters in there, it's usually, I think, to differentiate from other people, right?
Yeah, it's a good call. But, yeah, I think didn't you have some things with the Cowboys that you need to happen?
You made sure to remind me, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know if you guys remember, but weeks ago I had placed a bet in the Hard Rock Bet app.
Ooh.
And I said, all right, I want to put a little Super Bowl action going. So I took out 2 bets for the Super Bowl, which you guys thought was really stupid.
And how's that looking today?
You guys said to me, you were like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're betting on 3 different teams to go to and possibly win the Super Bowl.
Those teams were?
Well, this is how it went down. I bet on the Browns to win the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Because I was getting plus 3,000 on it. So you put down $10, you get back a pretty penny, Case.
Yeah, that is how that works. I don't know if you understand this because you've told me about a lot of bets that you've placed.
Cool.
You have to get them right for them to pay the large amount of money on the right side when you bet the thing.
You have to get it right?
You have to get it right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you had the Browns.
I've been doing this whole thing wrong the whole time?
Browns to win the bowl, huh?
Yeah. That was incorrect. The other Super Bowl bet I made, I thought was a little more realistic. You got the Ravens versus the Cowboys to play each other in the Super Bowl. That also did not pan out.
No. Ravens are still alive. Do you get anything for halves?
No, I don't get anything for halves.
It already shows as a loss?
It already shows as a loss.
Damn.
It's unfortunate, Case. That would make 29 straight bets from your buddy Aaron to end the football season with a giant donut.
Hey, you know what they say.
Donuts are delicious.
Next week's a new week.
Next week is a new week, Kasey.
Another opportunity.
Another opportunity to lose a few more parlays.
Whatever it takes.
For your buddy Aaron.
I actually do have shocking news on the betting front.
What is the shocking news? Oh, time out, folks. Breaking news from Kasey Kuhrts.
Brent paid me.
Did he pay you? How much, though?
Brent paid me.
In full?
In full.
You think something's wrong with him? You think... Is that why he's not on the show today?
I think something's up.
You think he's closing up all business?
I think something's up.
You think he's at the bar, he's signaling to the bartender, he's like, bartender, let's close the tab up.
I was stunned because you may remember, if I was good at this, I'd have pulled the audio. I didn't. You may remember from Friday.
I like that you hold yourself accountable, Case. That's what this league is all about.
That's all that matters. On Friday, we went a little round table real quick. Who's picking who?
We did.
I got laughed out the building for picking the Green Bay Packers to win.
I don't know about laughed out the building.
Brent gave me 14, and you nearly gave me 21 points.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be close.
They won outright by 2 scores.
2 scores.
All right.
It wasn't even contested.
Go back a couple weeks ago, according to Brent, there was no chance the Raiders could beat the Chiefs. That happened.
I was with you on that one. Brent's sitting here lapping at the lap of, Kansas City, thinking they're going to run off 3 in a row.
And then even a little bit of that Colorado action was paid. Believe it or not.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Do I still owe you something?
Oh, definitely.
What do I owe you?
At least $500.
That's not the case, but I would like to pay up on whatever we bet.
I was floored. He said, "What's your Venmo, ... I said, oh, come on, Bert.
You said, when did you learn what Venmo was?
Yeah, basically, I was lost. I sent it to him. It took 3 hours to send the payment, by the way. So I was like, okay, this guy's not figuring it out. And
Brent's like, I went to my bank and they don't know what Venmo is.
Basically. And then got the text came through. I said, there's no way Bert paid up.
We're getting weird reports from Bay Meadows Road where Brent is yelling at an ATM machine thinking it's going to pay out some money.
Would you just Venmo?
You got to press some buttons, buddy.
So what a moment. I can't believe it. I'm stunned. I'm floored when I got the text that the money came through. So we're turning over a new leaf here at ESPN 690.
Just in time. Well, I would like to know what I owe you. We can figure that out, and I'll get you paid up. I don't like welching to you, Case.
Yeah.
A big round of applause for that, I guess.
I'm fired up.
But we could start there, man. 48-32. I'm sorry, in honor of Brent, who's missing right now. 32-48, the Cowboys lose to the Packers. Oof.
What a mess. Huh?
Never even really contested. The Cowboys scored 16 in the final quarter.
It didn't really feel like it.
I mean, by halftime, 27-7, and it felt like it was way out of reach. And even then, I'm like, quick touchdown from CeeDee Lamb, another Tony Pollard drive. You're right back in this thing.
Because it does happen fast. When it happens with Dallas, it could happen fast.
They got the tools.
But it did not happen.
It did not happen. Holy smokes. Dak Prescott, what would you call it, a medium game for him?
Well, I mean, the stats are going to say better than...
Well, he threw 60 times, so obviously he's going to have big numbers.
And they scored, like you just said, in the end, they scored a little bit. So, the numbers are going to look fine. He was not good. They were not good.
You thought he had a bad game.
I did.
I thought it was less than Dak, but not like Zach Wilson-esque by any stretch. I didn't feel like Dak Prescott lost them the game.
Well, no. Dak Prescott did not lose them the game.
Okay.
They couldn't stop him.
They couldn't stop the Packers.
Yeah, they couldn't stop the Cowboys defense, which is supposed to be great, didn't show up. They were nowhere to be found. So no, it's not on Dak, but I by no means think I'm sitting here thinking that Dak played the game of his life and got out-dueled, because that wasn't the case. They struggled on offense for most of that game outside the fourth.
Jordan Love with a QBR of 99.3 with a rating of 157.2, 16 of 21, 272 yards, and 3 playoff tutties for the young man, Jordan Love.
It looked easy, Aaron.
It really did.
At no point did I think he was sweating.
Aaron Jones also dicing up the Cowboys throughout the game. There was no solution for Aaron Jones in that game.
Only reason he was sweating is because he had to run. But it wasn't difficult.
My dude was wearing the ski goggle glasses underneath his helmet. I thought that was kind of a cool look.
The glasses are the best part. And then they have dude on the sidelines who gives them to him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being that coach? It's like, can you get Aaron the glasses?
Yeah, there's actually, I'm now an expert on the Miami Dolphins because I watch Hard Knocks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mike McDaniel actually has he's not a coach. He's like an assistant. Okay. But basically his job is just to stand by McDaniel and pull him back into the sideline when he steps onto the field. Maybe he holds some glasses for him. Maybe he holds the headset or picks it up when McDaniels throws it. And it reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah.
I think everyone needs one of these guys kind of handing them some glasses. Romeo Doubs, another one with a huge game against Dallas in a game where Christian Watson just nowhere to be found. Obviously, he's been hurt all year. So.
And Jaden Reed was nowhere to be found.
And Jaden Reed, leading receiver on the team this year, nowhere to be found. Wild when you think they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people have a reception in the game.
Impressive, man. The Packers are it's a wild scenario because they're the youngest team, right, in the sport, and they just did that to Dallas, who's the 2 seed. Again, outside of you, I don't know if many actually truly deep in your heart of hearts believed in Dallas. I don't know if you even believed that far down.
You could say that, but I'm going to pull up a headline here on, where was it? I think it was Fox Sports. They called it an avalanche of money going towards Dallas in the lead up to the game. An avalanche of money, Kasey.
Hey, couldn't be me. I bet the Packers.
You did bet the Packers, and you're probably happier for it today. That's for sure.
I guess what I'm saying is all the way to the end. You didn't believe that Dallas was going to. I didn't, at least. I guess I won't speak for others, but it felt like Dallas wasn't going to get it done for some way or another. But to that headline's point, and most everybody else's point, you thought they could beat the Packers at home. But shout out to the Packers. They're young, they're good, and they're clearly, and we've said this before about a team they play over there, they're ahead of schedule, are these Packers. So it feels it's different because the Packers are a wild card. They went to Dallas. I think that's more impressive than what the Jags did. But if you add in the comeback, okay. But they feel kind of 20 last year Jagish.
Because they're a young team with little expectations.
Overachieved.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Heavy on the quarterback play. Yeah. Had some other tools at position players that could turn into great things. Yeah. So Jordan Love has obviously worked himself into a long-term deal.
Oh, absolutely.
Dak Prescott most likely getting an extension this offseason, or else he's a $60 million cap hit next season. They've talked. Jerry Jones has mentioned it. Dak has mentioned it. I think an extension is on the way for Dak Prescott as well. Despite this game, I mean, he had an MVP level season.
Yeah.
By multiple metrics, Case. ESPN just wrote a piece today.
No, yeah, you're right. In the regular season, he was very good and may be the MVP, but I think...
You don't think he's earned that extension?
I don't know. Jerry Jones is an interesting dude, and how many pieces of evidence do you need that they're not going to win when it matters?
And you're putting that on Dak's shoulders?
I don't know yet.
You just told me the defense was what let
they
down
lost
the
that
Cowboys.
game because of the defense, there's no doubt. But
that defense has been one of the better ones all year. Secondary, no doubt. The pass rush has been, top 5 pass rush throughout most of the year.
Didn't work.
Did not work. 0 sacks on Jordan Love in the game.
So something's going to change in Dallas, right? Dan Quinn was already talked about being gone. So if that ends up happening, do they get rid of McCarthy? So then at that point, are you talking about changing everything? Is there a better option out there? I don't know. Probably not, to be real.
I find it hard to believe that there's a world in which Dak Prescott wouldn't be on the Cowboys next year. It's hard to throw out a guy that had a season like he had and go we'll just find someone else.
Agreed, just because I don't know what else exists for that option.
That being said, maybe you package him in that number 1 deal. You really want to start over. That's the way to do it. But all right, look, I think
that'd be wild, huh?
Dan Quinn already has announced, or the Seahawks have announced, they're talking to Dan Quinn. And the expectation, at least that we all had, was that he's probably interested in that job and may likely take it. So if Dan Quinn is out, leader of that defense, and McCarthy is possibly out, you're right. They are starting over in a big way. They had a new OC this year, and really it was Mike McCarthy as the OC. So what you're bringing in next year, if you get rid of McCarthy, is an all-new staff. I mean, maybe you keep 1 or 2 of the guys that you love organizationally, but for the most part, new OC, new DC, new head coach, if McCarthy goes.
Yeah, I just think if they were going to do it, it would be when they make these decisions that they may be making and clearing out all their coaching staff. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
If they don't, then yeah, that's their guy for until he's done. But I don't know. But again, I don't know where else you go. I don't know, who are you getting? Kyler Murray? No. Russell Wilson? Kirk Cousins? It's not happening.
You're not stepping up from Dak Prescott.
No.
Not with the guy next year. Name a quarterback who plays better during the season. It's hard.
I can name ones who played better in the playoffs, but again, it's on their defense.
It's different. Poor Dak, 1-3 in his last playoff game, I think. Oof.
It's just not good.
It's not great.
No, it isn't.
Well, we'll see what happens in the offseason. They've been linked to a few big names in the coaching carousel. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Could change the complexion of that football team for sure. Let's go to maybe another game that we ended up seeing yesterday or over the weekend. Let's go over to the Lions and the Rams, another game that I had picked incorrectly, Kasey.
Nah, not me. Pick the Lions.
Lions and the Rams in Detroit. Revenge game for Matt Stafford. Revenge game for Jared Goff.
Good game.
Great game ended up being.
Solid game. Shout out to the people of Detroit. They've been suffering.
That's why you want to shout them out? Yeah. I have no sympathy for those folks.
Yeah, I mean.
No sympathy.
It's cool seeing, Aaron. I know you don't have that part of your emotions, like the happy. But
no, that's not what it is.
I was happy for those people.
Why should I feel good for them? I'm still mired in a 13-year drought. No.
Yeah, that's fair.
No.
I felt good for them. I was like, shout out to them.
Well, congrats, Case. You have a heart.
Mostly because I like Jared Goff.
Way to go.
Who was balling in the first half.
This is really maybe the most shocking thing for me. I realize how Jared plays in Detroit. I realize how he plays inside. I didn't think under the bright lights of the playoffs, with his old team back in town, with the Rams defense being what it was, I found it hard to believe in Goff's ability, but he ended up coming through 22 of 27, 277 yards, touchdown, 74.6 rating, 121.8 rating, 74.6 QBR. Decent game for Goff.
Decent
game for Goff.
Pretty good.
Not his ceiling, and nowhere near his middle.
But solid.
But a very good game for Goff.
Did what you had to do. I mean,
the running backs didn't do as much as I thought they would do. Granted,
their front is good.
The Rams is a good defense, but Montgomery seemed like he could run on everybody this year. He still averaged over 4 yards a carry.
Yeah, he had a couple of runs that it felt bigger than probably the box score says they were, like on first down and stuff to put him in a better spot. But yeah, the Lions are now, Dallas did them a favor, as we were just talking about Dallas. So now you're at home again. Jared Goff, as you said, is 1 billion times better at home. That's a real stat. Look it up. 1 billion times better at home. So now, if you can take care of your business again, you're 4 quarters away from somehow, some way going to Super Bowl. I get it, you're going to have to go to San Fran, likely, to get to that point. But Dallas losing gives them a great spot to have another home game.
If you don't go to San Fran, you got to go to Green. You got to play against Green Bay, who is apparently are world beaters now.
But you get to stay at home, and that's important for Goff.
And
then the Super Bowl's in a dome, so sky's the limit.
Goff goated.
Love some Jared Goff.
Super Bowl season loading once again for Jared Goff.
Wouldn't that be something?
And then out of nowhere, I guess not out of nowhere, but you got to imagine after this game, Jared Goff, the quarterback of the future for the Detroit Lions. Any questions that were there during the season about whether you extend this guy, give him a long-term deal, they got to be gone by now.
You would think. I mean, they still made, the Hendon Hooker pick. That's opportunity still exists, but I mean, they were showing like black and white video the last time the Lions won a playoff game. You're not moving on from that guy. So, yeah, I would agree with you. And I don't know if it's a good spot, but they're put in a spot where they're going to be favored in the next one. So you're set up in a good situation. And if you can just play the way you did, if you're Jared Goff, your backs, again, it's hard to run on Tampa, do a little bit more. But Amon-Ra's still going to cook. Sam Laporta, even with like a broken knee, is making plays. So I like this Lions team.
110 yards in the game. Sam Laporta hurt, but still playing. 3 catches for 14 yards. Like I said, the backs didn't do much on the ground, but you had Jahmyr Gibbs go off for about 60, almost 70 yards combined. He is, anytime he touches the ball, something big can happen.
Just get it to him.
Reminds me a lot of, and I know these guys, their stylistically, they're different, obviously different sports. But I remember going to 2 different basketball games where Blake Griffin was on the opposing team.
That is a wild comp.
Coincidental, just because he ended up being on the Nets. But I watched 2 games where he played against the Nets.
Okay.
Every time this man had this is prime Blake Griffin, by the way.
Clippers, Blake Griffin.
Yes. Anytime he had the ball, the whole arena goes, oh, because something big is going to happen no matter what he does. That's how I feel with Gibbs. Anytime Gibbs or even a guy like Bijan Robinson, sometimes ETN has some of this smoke too. Anytime these guys touch the ball, you're like, something big can happen right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Gibbs is electric. They got to figure out more ways to get it to him. I do feel that way about Travis Etienne. I know we've talked about that before when the Jags were still in it, but yeah, you got to get the guy the football, whether you hand it to him, whether you throw it to him. I think they do a good job of that. And now that you're playing another playoff game with a guy who's a rookie, kind of like Laporta, you talk about, is there a rookie wall, and playing the longest season of your life? Well, maybe it was smart what they did early in the season, because remember earlier we were like, why is Gibbs not getting more? And then they gave him more, and then now it's paying off.
Now they got gas in the tank.
Yeah.
Before I get over to my Rams notes, I have a question for you about Jameson Williams.
Okay.
Because we just wrapped up, or it's not wrapped up, he's got more games, I guess, this year, but we're now 2 years into his career. First year was a lost year.
Mm-hmm.
Second year almost was a lost year.
Yeah.
Then he ends up getting on the field, but it really doesn't make too much impact. You're talking about 24 receptions, 354 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
This was a first-round pick.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
It was almost the top 10 pick. It was the pick 12th, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know. It's interesting. I think when he's out there, the threat of it is just dangerous. He's not Tyreek Hill, but he can run right past you.
I'm with you. When he's out there, you're like, oh, they could go long at any point. But
at some point, they got to go long to make it work.
With the 12th pick, you really need to go long and get your value there, do you not? I feel like we're because it's the 12th pick, the word bust becomes a little bit tougher, but we're getting close to the classification if next year is not great.
Yeah, there's no doubt. The one thing I thought was interesting about Jameson Williams, and I'm glad you brought it up, was I believe it was Collinsworth who was on the call of this one. And he was talking about in one of the plays, I know he didn't have many catches, but in one of the plays, he was talking about the route. And he was basically saying when this guy came in, all he could do was run straight and hopefully run past him and get found. But as you kind of watch some of the tape, he's now running routes and like making crispy routes. And Collinsworth was like, well, this is, what they wanted to see. So maybe it's just delayed from the injury and all the stuff that happened this year.
Sure, technically it's his rookie year.
But, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. There's got to be
a significant step forward.
But I think it's – now maybe this is just because I keep betting it. I think it's bubbling. I think we got a long touchdown from Jameson Williams coming.
Here's the other thing to get nervous about if you're not a Lions fan. If you've got a team in the North or you just don't want to see the Lions win, now imagine you've got Jared Goff cooking. Amon-Ra St. Brown cooking like he normally does. Gibbs and Montgomery cooking. Rookie Laporta cooking. And then you add Jameson Williams to that. That's a nasty-looking offense, man. Oh, and by the way, one of the best blocking lines in all of football.
Them boys are good and big.
They got some great offensive linemen on that team.
I bet you were fired up when they were doing the little introductions and they go and say their names because it has their little PFF grade, and all of them were like 4, 3, 6, 1. I'm like, damn. All right. These boys are good.
Yeah, man. All right, so let's move over to the Rams because a few questions here persist for me. Number one, Matt Stafford was like, I don't know, a forehead hair away from retiring not too long ago.
Yeah, the broken neck.
He looked pretty good.
Looked good.
Ended up with a good season after injuries.
Continues to get beat up, though, every game.
Every game.
Bro's hand looked disgusting. I don't understand how the play where he goes down, hits his head on the turf, lands on the shoulder, comes up, can't move it, just comes right back out of the tent and plays.
Yeah, the
Bro
face
is tough.
If you know what you know about Matthew Stafford, which is he plays through almost everything that he can.
Everything.
And then
the broken neck.
You see the look on his face after that, after he goes down, what you were talking about, where he's kind of holding his side and he's wincing. For a regular person, it looks like it hurts. For Matt Stafford to make that face, you go, oh.
It hurts.
There must be a rib puncturing his heart right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ugh. Did not look comfortable. But ended up throwing for 367 anyway, 2 touchdowns. Good game, man, 120 rating. Puka Nacua.
I told you.
This dude, out of control.
Told you.
Out of control.
I tried to tell y'all, Jacksonville. Nobody listened.
I will say, I don't know that Kasey is being honest when he says he was talking about it at draft time, but very soon after draft time.
It was before. I have receipts.
Very soon after, you were definitely claiming it. Before Puka Nacua was a household name, you were claiming him. So I'll give you the credit, even if I don't know how honest you're being.
Thank you. You can check. I wrote that article. It's before. It's dated before.
I'd rather just claim you're lying.
That's fine. It's easier. But yeah, dude's a menace.
A menace. 9 catches, 181 yards, and Cooper Kupp's looking at him going, how about me?
That's the interesting part, because remember early in the season when Cooper Kupp was out?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say we, but the consensus or the question that was being asked was, I think it's the role. This is the Cooper Kupp role that Puka Nacua was in.
Okay.
And then Cooper Kupp comes back, and no, it's just Puka Nacua is really good. Like, they don't even – Cooper Kupp, I had Bro for anytime touchdown. I'm like, this is perfect. All the attention's on Puka Nacua. Cooper's going to score. Bro barely got the ball.
I think it's also interesting to note that the Rams are on their third iteration of a Hall of Fame level receiver with McVay's offense. Before Cooper Kupp, they had Robert Woods, and wasn't there another receiver there with them?
I mean, they had OBJ.
Racking numbers. Maybe it was just Robert Woods had a 1,000-yard season when Cooper had a 1,000-yard season. But just an amazing pass attack on this McVay teams. Puka Nacua, once again, 9 receptions, 181 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, the aforementioned, almost 2,000 yards in a season. Cooper Kupp, remember that guy? 5 catches, 27 yards.
Crazy.
And then Kyren Williams, who's been like so clutch for the Rams down the stretch with a decent game, 61 yards on the ground, although.
They were good against him. I think that was their focus, clearly.
And the Lions aren't really a great run-stopping team. So
they did well.
The fact that they stood up and did it for Wild Card Weekend meant they earned the win, as far as I'm concerned.
They did well. But if you're the Rams, if we're talking about the Rams, if you're the Rams there, I understand you think you're going to win every year. That's kind of the point of it. But these boys remember when the draft happened, they only had 40 dudes on their roster because they didn't have any money? Mm-hmm. This was a team that was a mess. This is a team people thought were going to win 1 or 2 times.
I remember us talking about the Cardinals and how bad they were going to be. Yeah. And then you pointed out they play the Rams twice.
Yes, that's right. So what a overachieving, I guess, season for the Rams, if that's how you feel. The only question is what now with Stafford? Because at some point, Stafford's going to stop just getting lit up every play. And I don't know. I know they play well on defense, but Aaron Donald, you always have that question. Is he going to retire?
2 years ago, he was trying to retire. He did retire.
So what is that team without Stafford? They're not in that position, I don't believe. They've got pieces now. They got young receiver. They got young running back. They have pieces on defense. But you might have to start thinking about the after Stafford plan, and I just don't know what that is.
Matt Stafford, 35 years old this season, was a $20 million cap hit. You want to guess that cap hit next season, Case?
It's got to be massive.
$49.5 million, which, by the way, you'd pay for a Matt Stafford as long as you knew you had him all year. And I'm sure there are injury protections in the contract. You can make that face. He was a great quarterback when he was in the game.
No, I'm with you. I'm not arguing. I don't even know what face I made. I think it's because Brent texted, and I was like, this is disgusting. But but you can afford to do that when you're paying Kyron Williams next to nothing because he's on that deal. And you're paying Puka next to nothing as a 5th rounder.
Yes.
Cooper Kupp makes some money. I get that. And then a lot of their...
Not for long.
Yeah, that's fair. Your young defenders don't make a lot of money.
Yeah,
so
young team.
They could, but, I don't know, man.
Well, here's what you got to consider if you're the Rams, Case, and that's the contract's not done after this year.
Yeesh.
You got him signed up 24 for $49.5. You got him signed up in 25 in his age 37 season. His body, even though his real life age, his IRL age is 37, his body is probably 74, 75 years old at this point.
Honestly.
His cap hit is $50.5 million in 2025 at age 37. That's where they have a potential out.
That's it. Jeez.
And then a cap hit of 49.5 again in 2026. They'll never get to the end of that contract. The question is, do you rework the deal this offseason?
I think you hope he retires.
Or you hope he retires. If you're the Rams and he retires, you're actually starting the rebuild a year late. We felt that's what they were doing this year.
But you're in a spot where you're probably not rebuilding anymore. You're looking for somebody
the quarterback,
the guy.
You need a substantial one.
I know, but I mean, you're probably not.
It
goes back to the same names that are available. Jimmy G.
I was going to say, if you
Russell
throw Jimmy
Wilson.
Garoppolo on this team, Russell Wilson's probably better to throw on there. But if you throw Jimmy Garoppolo on this team, are they making the playoffs?
No.
A year ago, he's like the second most sought after free agent.
No, probably not. But I think that's if something were to happen with Stafford, he retires because he just gets beat up every game. I think that's the move you're looking at. I don't think we're talking draft somebody, trade for picks, that type of thing. I think you're talking somebody who's a veteran who can put you back in that situation because you've got the playmakers, it feels like, around him. You've got pieces on defense. If Donald leaves, that's another question, another hole you're going to have to fill. But that, to me, feels like it would make sense if Stafford were to go. And if Stafford stays, you roll with him because, again, as long as his neck's not broken, he's going to be out there, and he's probably going to put up some numbers. Yeah.
Hall of Famer GOAT. As we go to break, I got a hot take for you with Sean McVay's offense. I don't know that you need a substantial quarterback. I think you could take on a Jacoby Brissett, a Gardner Minshew,
Carson Wentz,
and make the playoffs with a McVay offense and that defense. But the key is the defense.
Yeah.
You can't have substandard defense if you're going with one of those guys at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
You need a stout defense. We'll talk more about the playoffs and the coaching carousel when we come back on Brent Friends, ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
On and off rain today will gradually diminish this afternoon from west to east, with temperatures falling into the 50s, leading to a cold night tonight, down into the 20s inland to the mid-30s at the beaches, but with lower wind chills, and a sunny and cold Wednesday, highs tomorrow near 50. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Start the year with a new or used vehicle at Nimnick Buick GMC. New year, new truck. There are trucks, and then there's the truck, the GMC Sierra. I love mine, and you can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s and enjoy rates as low as 0.9% APR financing. Try a Terrain or Acadia with rates as low as 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers. Used car? Well, try the Car Bravo program. Nimnick certifies all makes and models. NimnickBuickGMC.com or the showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC. We are professional grade.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Advisory services through Talon Private Wealth and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Lord License D056341.
On Guarding Your Nest Egg Radio, Mike Lester, founder of Talon Wealth, focuses on a key question many share. Do I have enough to retire?
For starters, we'll do the math for you. But to me, it's really more about lifestyle. I want to find out what's important to you. I want to find out what your expenses are. And then I'm going to give you a realistic expectation moving forward of how your money needs to be invested to accomplish your goals in retirement.
Get to know Mike at guardingyournestegg.com.
Men, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. 98% of men see instant results on their first office visit. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Men are even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
But that's not all. For a limited time only, call Prime Men's Medical Center now, and your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8221. 904-664-8221. That's 904-664-8221.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. Not on my watch, they say, as they leave their families behind to keep the rest of ours safe. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve, the therapists they need to walk again, the treatment they need to talk again, the lifetime of day-to-day help they need to live full and independent lives. When there's no more government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option, or everyone says there's no hope for recovery, we won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Find out how you can do your part at findwwp.org.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690.
Welcome back to the Brent Friends radio show. Aaron Schachter and Kasey Kuhrts hanging with you up until 6.
How about it?
Kasey, I saw your co-host down the hall. Does that mean you guys have a show tonight?
He's back and better than ever.
Nice.
Heart's working and everything. Some of y'all don't get that joke.
Right.
Brian has a different heart. It's no big deal. He's talking about it.
Is it human?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's just a different one. That's where Brian was.
Yeah.
He'll be thrilled when I tell him that I told everybody that.
Cool.
Uncomfortable with heart talk?
I was just saying good for Brian. I'm glad he's back.
Me too.
Happy to see him today.
So, yes, to answer your question.
I saw you standing next to him and made it a little less happy. I was like, oh, Kasey's here.
Yeah. I know what you were doing, by the way. You were looking to see if I was here.
You're right. That's what I usually do before
the show, guys. It was 56, and you're like,
I'll go ahead.
Brent,
I'll take down the fourth wall here, Case. Before every show, what I like to do is poke my head into random offices and go, is Kasey in here?
Well, judging by the situation we were in, I know you were looking for me.
No, I really wasn't.
You were.
Every day before the show, I go drop off either some prep to Brian or say hi. And that's what I was doing, bud. You try to call me out, ain't nothing to call.
I think there's something to call.
I'll tell you what there is to call.
Bro was panicking.
That's the post-mortem on the Philadelphia Eagles. Segway City, buddy.
Nice job. Nice job, man. You're good at this.
Let's talk about the Bucs and the Eagles game because this, to me, was the slowest moving car wreck in the whole playoffs.
Wasn't great. Kind of a sleeper.
Well, you just kind of knew going into the game, the train was off the tracks for Philly.
Yeah.
Like, things were not going the way they envisioned them going when they started off, what was it, 10-1, 11-1?
Yeah, 10.
10-1. And there you are, getting boat run.
Yeah, it was bad.
By Baker and the boys.
What shocked me when the schedule came out is, again, I'm not in the room. I know Brent has more insight on this, but they basically, like, as far as I understand it, I think, you kind of pick games and there's an order. Why would ESPN want this game? There's their only game. Like you said, like you kind of knew that Philly was falling apart.
Yeah.
No A.J. Brown. I get they'd already picked the game. But like I just thought that ESPN trying to gas this one up was interesting.
Well,
because you kind of knew what was going to happen.
You did. We don't really have all the information, though. There could be that they defer in this round and get a pick in another round or something like that. We don't know how that works.
Yeah,
right?
I get that. But it just stinks for ESPN that was their game because I thought it was boring.
I'll tell you who it doesn't stink for. The guy who's going to be playing quarterback for the Bucs for the next 3 to 5 years.
Shout out Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield really walked into the season this year as possibly QB2 or 3 and ended up running away with the thing.
You remember when I thought Kyle Trask was going to start?
I do. Well, that's your boy. I didn't blame you for that.
I was wrong.
Yeah, the UF connection there, right?
And Bro's never playing, by the way.
Trask.
In
the NFL or just for the Bucs?
Just for the Bucs. This is Baker's thing.
This is Baker's thing now. To me, though, it feels a lot like what he had going on in Cleveland when he showed up.
I agree.
It's like Cleveland that first year where he's kind of like, oh, this is what Baker can do. We can go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he's got another great year with the Bucs, especially if they lock and load Evans up for one more, which, Evans says they're not going to be able to do. And
who's, by the way, been nowhere to be found in these last couple.
Fair enough, but, I mean, without Evans, you don't make it to this point.
100%. All I'm saying is last
Stellar
two,
season.
He's been nowhere. The 2 must-wins, haven't seen him. Bro's been missing. Who is Trey Palmer? I don't know, but he's scoring again. Chris Godwin, where you been? I don't know. Some dude named Bell is scoring again.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild. And
Kate Otten doing all the business work over there for the Bucs.
Rashad White is a dog, the running back, won me 2 fantasy leagues. Shout out to the boy. But the Baker thing is interesting because you're right. And Baker's whole thing is it doesn't look pretty in any way, shape, or form.
He just gets it done.
He just gets it done.
I don't consider him a game manager. You consider him a game manager? He can make things happen, Case.
I don't know what I consider him to be, really. I don't think game manager is that. I agree.
Consider him a wild card.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can expect Baker to average 300 yards a game. I don't think he's ever going to lead the league in touchdowns thrown.
He's just a gamer.
But he's just out there winning.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes.
I don't know. It just doesn't look pretty. Gives it his all, and they win.
3 touchdowns, man. What a game.
What a game. And Philly, holy cow.
So Philly's got their own host of problems. Obviously, we didn't have A.J. Brown in the game. That's a big deal for Philly. He's got a sprained knee. Of course, that was coming on the heels of him erasing the Eagles from all of his social media channel, or at least his Instagram, and then deactivating his Twitter. I think maybe there was too many Eagle posts on his X account. And rather than delete all those, he's just like, I'm just going to deactivate this.
Well, things were going well last year. You probably wanted to post. Not so much now.
Not so much. But that does not look good right now in Philly. Obviously, rumors are swirling all over the place that your boy, the head coach,
Nick Sirianni,
might not be on stable footing.
That's wild to me. I understand that was a debacle of debacles. You think Jacksonville was a debacle? That was a debacle. What happened in Philadelphia? But we're going to fire him? Really? Like, are we sure?
So this is an organization that held on to Andy Reid for a few years, maybe past when they should have. Then they get rid of Chip Kelly like nearly immediately.
They got rid of Doug pretty quick.
They got rid of Doug pretty quick. And here they are on Sirianni, and he's got one more year left on his deal. I think he's 4 years in. He's got a Super Bowl appearance. Here, but how could you possibly, because now, all right, I keep interrupting myself. Here's the reality. You need an offensive coordinator.
Yes.
You need a defensive coordinator.
Also, yes.
So how do you load up a new staff with a guy that may not be there?
It's a good point, but I don't know. Clearly, the coordinators played a bigger role than anybody would have anticipated, even them halfway through the season, right? Because you look at Indy and you go, yeah, Indy overachieved. The coach is pretty good. You look at Arizona. I don't know what you think about Arizona, but the point is that's their defensive coordinator from last year is now that coach, and they couldn't stop anybody on defense. But I have a hard time looking at this with Nick Sirianni and going, all right, he comes in, they play Jalen Hurts, who they're not even sure is good.
Who says that?
What do you mean?
Like, I'm now hearing everyone question Jalen Hurts. Is he the guy? He was the most elite last year, so much so people were ready to put him in the Hall of Fame after last season.
Yeah, I'm saying back to when Sirianni got there.
Okay, because people are doing it now.
Yeah, which is insane. I'll get to that. But when Sirianni comes in, you're coming from the Foles, Carson Wentz, whatever that was, into Hurts, who you picked second round or third round, whichever it was, but you didn't know.
I think it was second.
Yeah, I think you're right. You play him, you go to the playoffs, ironically against Tampa, you lose to Brady, you come back, he takes this step. I get it. The coordinators were there, all right? But
She also beefed up to the tune of like 20, 30 pounds.
You go to the freaking Super Bowl.
You go. And he has a GOAT season.
And you blow it, by the way. You should have won the Super Bowl.
Sure.
You blew it.
But you think you blew it because of, some of the guys on the defense. So you load up.
And then, yes, he did take a step back. He also got paid the bag, by the way, which you do that when the guy's good. So look at that development. That's a part that has to go for plus Sirianni here if we're doing this. And then I get it.
Or Steichen.
Yeah, there's a little collapse this year. I get it. He's clearly not healthy. He can't run right now.
Which is really the game, right? If Hurts can't run, he's got to be a different quarterback.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So to me, with how this thing is gone, if you're seriously going to fire dude who's gone to the playoffs 3 times and Super Bowl once that he should have won, he didn't. I understand that. What are we doing? Like, where are you going? You getting Belichick? No.
I do think that Vrabel is a name they should heavily consider if they're looking to step away from Sirianni.
It's interesting. It's intriguing. I'll give it to you. But what if we're it's the same thing I said about the Jags, but on a lower scale. And you're talking about next year. If the Jags are firing coaches for winning 9 games, that'd be stunning to me since you won 3 for the majority of the last 20 years. Right?
Yeah.
If the Eagles, who are now playoffs, Super Bowl appearance in there, you're going to fire that guy?
If you've lost the locker room. If the locker room is done, you got no choice. And also, by the way, I heard Sal Powell say this earlier today.
Sal Powell the GOAT.
Philly cares about the fan opinion. Always have, much more so than a lot of other franchises. And the Philly fans are done with Sirianni. They've had it.
Bro, if you're letting fans make the decisions.
I get it. It's not exactly smart, knee-jerk reactions, the whole bit. But Philly is known to do that kind of thing.
Now, there is something that will need to change with Philly. I don't think it's the head coach. It's certainly not the quarterback.
It's certainly not the general manager ever. That guy's on a lifetime contract.
So, yes, something's going to happen. I don't know if it's A.J. Brown related. I don't know. It's defensive side related, which it probably should be because they couldn't stop anybody in the last 10 weeks of the season.
A.J. Brown would be interesting just because Devonta Smith is great.
Devontae Smith is very good.
So you have a wide receiver 1, and that's really the issue sometimes with trading away a skill position player like a wide receiver is you don't find ones growing on trees.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've already got a 1 and you believe you've got some other pieces, whether it be your backfield or Goddard, who's hurt a lot now.
Yes.
But maybe you could find some other complementary pieces for Jalen Hurts and the boys in that receiver room by trading A.J. Brown and picking up a 1st or 2 firsts.
Yeah. It's intriguing because you've got teams that need that. Like, Carolina desperately needs a guy like A.J. Brown for Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Imagine throwing a A.J. Brown at Chicago and putting him with DJ Moore and Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, whoever. Kyler Murray desperately needs anybody. Bro could use anybody at this point. So, like, it feels like, and we'll see what happens with free agency and stuff, it feels like there are teams that would be willing to make a move there. The question is Philly willing to make the move there? And if there is a locker room thing that involves A.J. Brown, did Sirianni lose the team? Or is there a couple of...
Or did A.J. Brown lose his team?
Right. Is it that? Is it like there's a lot of things you got to figure out, but it feels like if they did move on from A.J. Brown, you'd still get something. Because there's teams that have to be desperate for a guy like that.
Yeah, and there are. We could probably name 7 of them right off the top of our head. We're not going to do that because we're about to go to commercial. Case, we haven't even touched on the AFC yet.
Look at us.
Just rolling along.
And they didn't think we could do it. They didn't believe in us, Aaron.
We'll continue talking playoffs when we come back on Brent and Friends. We still haven't gotten to the coaching carousel. What's the latest there? Which jobs have opened up since the last time we've talked? Which coaches have interviewed since the last time we talked? We'll have all that information coming up on Brent and Friends, ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Here we grow again. Terry Norvell here from the Young and Norvell Show, announcing our new expanded hours as we are now on weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's right. You now have a standing lunch date with me and my broadcast partner, former Gators basketball star and current SEC network analyst Patrick Young, every weekday for 2 solid hours from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690. You supply the lunch. We provide the most compelling sports talk in town. Find out for yourself weekdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch the Young and Norvell Show on ESPN 690.
This year, I resolved to have a whole new view in life.
Nice. So what are we talking? New attitude? Maybe new glasses?
Nope. New windows and doors from American Window Products.
New view. I see what you did there.
They're Jacksonville's oldest family-owned replacement window and door company. Great prices, selection, professional installation. They look great, too. And you can save $250 off any entry door and free installation on 6 or more windows in January when you call 731-2247 or visit AmericanWindowProducts.com.
Thanks. I'll give them a look.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hello. It's me, the designer jeans in your closet. The back of your closet. What am I doing here? Would you keep caviar in the back of your fridge with the ketchup and old milk? Yeah, I don't think so. So what happened to us? I mean, have you seen my label? I used to summer in the Hamptons, and now I'm stuck behind a pair of sweats. Sure, I never really fit you quite right, and one of my pockets is so small you can't even squeeze your hand into it. But it's all about the look. And I look good. I need to get back out on the scene so I can be seen. You know, going to fancy parties, getting expensive iced coffees, Sunday fun days, okay? So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Back to ESPN 690, Brent and Friends, Kasey Kuhrts and me, Aaron Schachter, hanging with you up until 6 o'clock. Case, just a few minutes on the clock, buddy. The clock is ticking. So we can't really get into AFC games until the 4 o'clock hour. That's coming up here in a few minutes. But before we go, I want to ask you some overreactions. I want you to tell me how you're feeling about these. Are these overreactions or not?
Underreactions.
Okay. Or an underreaction. Or maybe just a regular reaction.
Okay.
The Bucs are a legit threat to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl.
Over.
Over? You don't see it.
They're not beating the Lions.
They don't have the defense.
Bro, here's the thing, and I know we're not supposed to elaborate. Here's the thing. Like, San Fran didn't play this week. Do we forget about them?
I didn't forget about anybody.
Yeah, no.
They're not. The overreaction isn't they're the favorites.
Tampa's fine, but they're not that.
They're not a threat.
That. No.
I think they need a better defense before they can be considered a threat.
They're not, to me, they're not the Lions, and they're certainly not San Fran. And they may not even be the Packers.
The Eagles need to rethink all of it. Coach, quarterback, everything.
No. Overreaction.
You don't think it's broken?
I think parts of it.
You don't even think the coaching is broken.
I think parts are broken, but the head coach and the quarterback absolutely should still be employed by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Jordan Love's deal will be bigger than Dak Prescott's extension.
I'm with it.
You think this is an underreaction?
Nah, maybe it's just a reaction. It might just be a reaction.
What do you think Jordan Love's going to get? He's not getting a 50.
No. But
you don't think Dak's getting a 50? Like, Dak's going to have one of those contracts that'll quickly devolve over a couple of years. Let me pull up his numbers to give you some perspective here.
If Jordan Love plays well against San Francisco, all bets are off.
Dak is going to be 31 next season.
Really?
So this is theoretically maybe his last deal with the Cowboys.
Oh, absolutely.
Unless they rework it and he's steps up his play. So the last big number he made this year was 26.8. He's going to make way more than that next year.
Yes, he will make a lot more than 26.8.
But he's on the hook.
30 more? No way.
He's on the hook
20,
for 60,
whatever.
59.5.
No way. No way it's over 50.
I think he gets 50. For the next 3 or 4 years, he's worth Jalen Hurts to me.
I know, but it just doesn't.
He was like the best quarterback in the league this year.
In the regular season, when nobody cares about the regular season other than fantasy football.
You don't get to the playoffs without playing well in the regular season.
Well, they might as well just not go because they don't win when they're there. Jordan Love at least won when he was there.
You told me the defense was the reason.
I still believe that, but I can hold it against him now. It works out conveniently for me.
What's Jordan's AAV?
Ugh.
I think the extension nets him anywhere between 42 and 45.
That's where I'm at. Comfortably more than like Daniel Jones.
Yeah, more than Daniel Jones, less than Mahomes, wherever Mahomes is today.
Right, yeah. 42 feels good.
42 does feel good.
So Dak's probably higher. 46.
Interesting.
Alphabet about it 50 on Dak if you want to do it.
Alphabet about it 50 on Dak. Let me think about this. What's it got to be? It's got to be an AAV of 50?
Yes.
Or more. Okay.
You get 50 up.
And you get 50. Okay. I'll do it.
All right.
Nice. I would give you some overreaction, underreaction on AFC games, but we haven't done them yet. We have to pretend like they didn't exist, Kasey.
Or we can just do them next.
We will. Right here on ESPN 690. It's the Brent Friends radio show. I am Aaron Schachter. With me, as always, the Red Menace, Kasey Kuhrts. I believe we're expecting a Martineau sighting next hour.
All bets are off.
JSO, Highway Patrol.
Don't pull over my boy.
Let him slide.
He paid his dues.
He paid his dues today. Let him slide.
Just let him slide. One time.
We'll be back on ESPN 690.
When it comes to protecting your family and your property, there's one name in the home security industry that has stood the test of time: SafeTouch Security. For decades, SafeTouch has been and continues to be the leader in home security systems, offering the latest technology at the lowest price. SafeTouch offers 5 layers of defense for your home, giving you peace of mind whether you're home or not. The SafeTouch security yard sign lets everyone know this house is protected. Then there's the SafeTouch Perimeter Guard cameras, the two-way communicators, and the crash and smash technology, all controlled with an integrated app which can be used anywhere there's internet. With SafeTouch, you're never home alone and never away from home. These are state-of-the-art systems that you would expect to pay hundreds for. But right now, SafeTouch is offering their once-a-year deal, which can save you up to 50% on your security package. Call 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license EF200011945.
Save money on your energy bills and beautify your home with Renewal by Andersen. Specializing in energy-efficient, customized windows and doors, Renewal by Andersen Fibrex product is chic, tough, easy to maintain, and twice as strong as vinyl. Named 2023's most energy-efficient window, Renewal by Andersen, official partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Go to rbafla.com.
Renewal by Andersen. We love our new windows.
License number CGC 1527613.
Hey folks, now that the kids and grandkids have gone home and the decorations are coming down, I can see that it's time to get my carpets and sofas cleaned. That's where Zero Res comes in. Zero Res can clean the carpets, the sofa, the chairs, the area rugs, and even the tile and grout. Google Zero Res and see what your neighbors are saying with over 5,000 five-star customer reviews. Right now, get 20% off carpet cleaning and 20% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Every weeknight at 6 p.m., it's Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton, and check us out right here on ESPN 690.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Eagle center Jason Kelce, a future Hall of Famer, visibly emotional after the wild card loss to the Buccaneers, told his teammates he's retiring, according to ESPN's Adam Schachter. Dolphins GM Chris Greer indicated he hopes to sign quarterback Tua Tagovailoa to a long-term extension. Tua started every game this season, led the league in passing yards, but he might not be able to help deliver a Lombardi trophy to Miami, according to Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe.
I just don't believe his ceiling for the Dolphins is a Super Bowl. Things basically have to be really ideal for you to maximize his ability. And with that, the maximization and things having to be ideal, that's asking an awful lot because in football, there are things that's going to be less than ideal.
NHL Golden Knights star Jack Eichel week to week after surgery to repair a lower body injury. Arizona's hiring San Jose State's Brent Brennan as its next head football coach. Julian Lewis, top high school football player in the class of 2026, told ESPN he plans to reclassify and enter college in the class of 2025. He committed to USC in August.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Wednesday. I'll tell you which underdog has the best chance to pull off the upset in the divisional round. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Welcome back to Brent Friends, ESPN 690. Aaron Schachter and Kasey Kuhrts with you guys up until 6.
Hey!
During the break, we were just watching some of the highlights on ESPN.
We were?
Made me start thinking.
Oh, no.
I would love to just read off to you some of these dumb parlays I've made over the last 3 months. Maybe there's some like Boys to Men music.
That'd be fun.
It's so hard to say goodbye.
We should pencil that in for tomorrow.
Just to wish the football season goodbye.
Yeah, we should. Let's hold on to that. That's a good bit.
Could always do it on Monday.
That's a good bit.
Coming up on Monday, it's another Ann Friends show, but this is the good kind, where we don't get interrupted by Dad coming home from vacation.
Who should be here in a minute, by the way. That's a great bit, man. If we would have done that every Monday, or Tuesday.
What I really want to do.
Bets that didn't hit.
Now I'm going to say it out loud so that the folks over at 1010 can steal it like they steal everything else. What I'd really like to do is take all of your freezing cold takes, you and Bert.
Okay.
And then play them back to you every Monday. Like, this was last week's cold takes that you guys completely flopped on.
That's a good bit, too. I don't have those this week because, as mentioned at the top of the show, if you weren't here, by the way, 4 o'clock hour, if you missed it, these clowns, one who's not even here yet, he's out clowning, gave me 14 points. I had the Packers straight up to win. Brent's like, no, that's impossible. I'll give you 14 points. I was like, all right. Aaron's like, I'll give you 21. Oh. Clown behavior. Welcome in. But so if we're going to play freezing cold takes back to each other, I got nothing you got nothing to play this time around.
How could you even hate on this guy? At least he put his money where his mouth was.
Finally, how many weeks and months am I saying, Brent, you owe me $500? And I started the show and I gave you your credit. You paid me, Brent.
You paid
Brent.
me.
We're going to start every hour with this?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. We're out of content,
It's like
bro.
we got to give everyone the big news. Here were the playoff games, and then also Kasey finally got paid by Brent.
You should have seen what we had planned for the next 5 minutes. Good thing he came in.
Had to put a stop to it.
And good thing you're on the stairs when Aaron said what he just said, because, oh, boy.
We haven't touched on the AFC games yet, so we can dive into those right now, guys. It was a busy, busy wild card weekend, as we detailed in the first hour. But we can start with the game that Brent called correctly.
Oh, that's shocking.
Brent's been wishing, begging for Joe Flacco to stumble over the last few weeks. You finally got your wish, Brent.
Well, I'm not sure I'm begging. I like the Browns story, by the way, overall.
Oh, how convenient now that they're out of the playoffs.
Well, I mean, I feel good for Browns fans if they were to win. They've been through a lot. They've endured a lot, so it's kind of rooting for them.
Another guy rooting for fans. I don't really understand either of you.
Well, listen.
I was rooting for the Detroit fans. He got mad at me.
I don't know how you can't appreciate that, especially like you're a Mets guy. Like
Mets, Jets, Nets, because I'm still in it. I'm still in it. It still sucks for me.
But in Jacksonville, like, they relate. Like, I grew up a Red Sox fan. You relate. Like, I mean, every fan base has their thing, but I feel like you're a 25-year-old kid growing up in New England, you'd have no idea what that means, right? Because the Celtics, the Bruins, the Patriots, the Red Sox have all won.
It's been amazing.
So I mean, those fans that have endured for so long, I mean, I do appreciate it. I feel good for them. But bottom line is, this doesn't surprise me. I mean, the Flacco pumpkin was around the corner, and he got away with so much stuff. That's what I kept saying. He got away with a lot. He got away with a lot against the Jags. Away with a lot in other games. And he never paid for it, really, from a win-loss standpoint, because they built such a big lead. Did some great things, too. Really good first halves. His second halves usually weren't that good. And so it finally caught up to him, and boy, what a performance for Houston. They're the darling right now. I mean, they're playing good football. They got a chance, and they feel a little bit like Jacksonville last year, maybe. I mean, we've seen other teams like this in the past, but how good are the Houston Texans in terms of how they're playing right now?
Just when you thought C.J. Stroud would maybe slow down a little bit, play more football than he's ever played in his professional life, coming off a pretty severe, nasty concussion, dude balls out once again.
Yeah, he's really good, and they are really good, right? See, everybody wants to. I've seen a lot of this in the last couple of days, Kasey. Everybody's like, well, it's live or die by the quarterback. It's quarterback or nothing. It's quarterback. This guy's great, or they stink, or not just the quarterback, but the team. And I think what they've found in Houston right now is, first of all, DeMeco Ryans is pushing the right buttons, and
good
secondly, Slowick, and Stroud are on the same page.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they are clicking right now. I mean, they are talking the same language. Doesn't matter if they have Tank Dell or not. Doesn't matter if they have Schultz or not. Doesn't matter at times over the last few weeks if they had Collins or not. And they are finding it. They are in a beautiful rhythm, and I just still can't believe people can't stop it. But I was just talking about this. They go under center a lot more than most teams do, especially with a young quarterback, because so many of those guys are so used to playing out of the shotgun. And it gives them such an advantage. If you look at some of the statistics around the league, what they do, not what any quarterback does. Even Trevor, I saw a tweet today. Very small sample of him under center, but when he's under center, he's very good. And you just wonder if that's what's beating teams. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out why are teams usually figure you out. Why can't they figure out the Houston Texans?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering myself. I went looking at all my favorite paid stat websites.
Oh, boy.
What is it about C.J. Stroud that differentiates him from all the normal human beings? Because there have been quarterbacks over time who are like, oh, that guy's got a cannon arm. Oh, that guy's hyper accurate. That guy can move in the pocket. He doesn't have to wait until the pocket collapses on him. He can extend plays. C.J. Stroud, the only thing I can tell is that just under the most pressure-filled situations, the man is cool and collected every time. He never looks frantic or rushed or hurried. He always looks like he's got his finger on whatever's happening.
So there's an intangible, there is poise.
Yeah.
Like that's not a measurable. You want to go find a measurable. Kasey, I think the other big thing here that people don't give enough credit to, and I think you have this a little bit with Purdy, if I'm not mistaken. I think a guy like Minshew actually delivers this from time to time. I think it's why he's found success. And I'm talking about two guys there that don't have elite arms, but Stroud has the ability to make elite throws, and he has this, and that's accuracy. I think we dismiss accuracy a lot of times when we're evaluating or talking about quarterbacks. And Kasey, that was a thing on him. He was the most accurate quarterback coming out. And people are like, yeah, but. Well, accuracy really helps.
Yeah, bro's dotting it. He can put it exactly where he wants it. And that's probably the thing you should point at, because Tank Dell, when they picked him, you're like, okay, Tank Dell, who is this guy? And then Nico Collins, been here for 3 years, hasn't done much. Dalton Schultz, okay, he's good. Is he great? That's because he's putting it in the spot for these guys to make a play. So I think you can look at that. You can say that's why these guys are performing the way they are. But, I mean, it's one thing to do this. They just dominated the Browns' defense, which was, like, goated.
Yeah.
Was talked about in, like, legit defenses in the last long time. And they could not stop them.
Browns gave up 45 points in this game.
It's unbelievable to think about.
Well, there were 2 pick sixes.
Still.
But I'm not.
They still couldn't stop them.
What's actually a fascinating stat is they are number 1 in the league at home points per game, and I think they're 32nd in the league points per game on the road. I do not know why that is. We can't explain the Jags around here, why they lost 5 in Jacksonville, other than they were playing pretty good teams in Jacksonville. That's an alarmingly
differentiation.
Big gap,
yes.
Right? I mean, that's crazy.
And Myles Garrett pointing the finger at Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, who was getting all the accolades all through the season.
So I don't know what that is. I don't know. That's a weird thing. But back to Houston. Houston's figured. You guys saw me tweeting about this probably over the weekend. The spacing they provide around the quarterback. Like, is that a system thing? Is that their ability to it? Is it just, it's not just offensive line. You can see it. I was just describing a play to somebody. Jordan Love, when he goes and throws the 21-0 touchdown, it was 3rd and 5. I'm sorry. I don't know I think it might have been 3rd and 5. They bring a zero blitz.
Just the Musgrave pass?
Yeah. Okay. And he's in shotgun, so he's 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. This was really easy to count because it was like at the 25, so he was at the 30. And then he drops back all the way to, let's just say in this instance, if my numbers are right, 37. So he's really 12 yards. When he releases the ball, he's 12 yards from the line of scrimmage. Now, he does have pressure in his face, but that's 12 yards to cover by this zero blitz. You got to get by guys. You got to get there. And in that time, he's able to survey, see, and still feel comfortable releasing the football. Now, that might just be a zero blitz beater that you've got to create some space as the quarterback. Is that the scheme? What I'm noticing, though, is now, and I can't get my eyes off it, is if you take a look at some of the successful teams this weekend, they create a lot of space. It's not all the same system. I think Goff does it. I think Stafford has it. I think Mahomes has it. Really, the one guy that didn't have any space at all because of the drop back and position they put him in was Rudolph.
Yeah.
And you could see it. It's very noticeable. It's
Rushed
like
on every play.
I mean, but he couldn't even step into throws. And he actually delivered some nice throws even still. But it's like the collapse of the pocket. And I just couldn't get it out of my mind. And I don't know why. I just have seen it in the last week or so. But Houston does a great job of it.
Yeah, Dak was another one who didn't have much space created for him this weekend either.
Yeah, because that's a good point. And the reason I think, like, he's not quick enough. Maybe Rudolph's not a quick guy. Maybe you have to get back there. There's a lot of elements that go into this. Probably scheme, probably play design, probably offensive line block. Like, again, it's not just black and white. It's not, boom, this is why. But I do think it's a very noticeable thing to my eyes this weekend when you look at those those offenses that really clicked. And I think Peter King, I saw a tweet today, Peter King, 21 drop backs or 21 pass attempts for C.J. Stroud. And on 8 of them, 8 of the passes, there were more than 5 yards of separation between a receiver and a defender.
Ooh.
Like, I get all the praise for Stroud. He's playing terrific, the things that you said. But this isn't just C.J. Stroud is my point.
Any NFL quarterback is hitting a receiver who's open by 5 yards in every direction.
Like, C.J. Stroud's the easy answer. It's not just C.J. Stroud. He should be applauded for doing what he's doing. He really should.
Especially as a rookie.
And I know that sounds like, oh, Brent, you're taking – well, no, I'm not. But the ability for Collins, Kasey, the speed they have, all this spacing that I'm talking about also makes you defend more of the real estate as a defender. I mean, all this stuff is adding up, and I think a lot of this tree, that McVay, Shanahan kind of tree, is they're doing similar things to create it. I'm not smart enough to know what. I know a lot of people pretend like they know the X's and O's. I don't. But it's pretty noticeable to me that that's a commonplace thing for these offenses doing so well.
You want to move on to the Kansas City game? I thought this was kind of shocking as well.
Yeah.
Kansas City game, obviously the freezer bowl. With the wind chill temps.
Them people look miserable. McDaniel looked miserable.
Yeah, he did.
There's not one person that looked happy to be there, including the Chiefs who won.
Well, the Chiefs did win, and they won big, 26-7. Did you feel like Mahomes had his offense back?
Not sort of. I don't know. I don't really know how to judge it because the situation was weird, right? The weather, that whole thing. I thought they were going to run the football. They did. They did it well. Pacheco runs angry, all those things. But I think it might have just been they're better.
In a game that Pacheco ran 24 times and the Chiefs won, Mahomes threw 41 times.
Doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, that didn't feel it. That didn't feel like it. And they kind of got caught in the red zone. They could have blown them out, right? I mean, the red zone ended up kicking field goals. I don't know how many. Was it 4?
Few. I think it was 4.
Yes, but 4 field goals.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. This one's hard because the Dolphins were never going to win in that weather. They just weren't. I mean, Tua had never played a game like below X degrees.
Bro was cold.
And it showed. He had a really poor game.
And by the way, this is like beyond X degrees. Like, this is really tough conditions. The home team has to have a big advantage here. Mahomes has played in cold. Mahomes is a good cold weather quarterback. Like, he's done well. Yeah, the Dolphins just never had a chance. I don't know what that says about Kansas City as much as I think the Dolphins just never had a chance.
Should the NFL have delayed the game?
No. The Buffalo's one thing where you can't even go outside because there's snow.
No, they made the right call in the Buffalo game, no doubt. I mean, they couldn't move. They couldn't go there. Couldn't get there. Yeah. That would have been a catastrophe, really.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Rashee Rice with a big breakout game, 130 yards. Is this his coming out party officially, or is this more of what we've seen all season?
Nah, I think Bro's good. I think Bro's the option
good
right now. But the Kansas City, like, it's interesting what Kansas City has become, right? From the origin of this Kansas City with Tyreek and the boys, they threw it around. Like, this Kansas City team is play defense in the cold and run the ball, it feels like. I understand he threw it 41 times, which, again, it doesn't feel like. But it felt like to me they're getting the tough yards that they need. Pacheco's a dog, and their defense is damn good. Like, that's what Kansas City is now, which is kind of crazy to me.
6 passes defended, 5 quarterback hits, 2 sacks.
Their defense is good. And youI mean, Tua just looked like he was thrown into a windstorm the whole time. He doesn't have a big arm to begin with. And so when you've got to float everything and timing and you're on speed and everybody's moving slower than they normally move and the ball's fluttering.
Drops, especially when your whole offense is about timing with these guys, the fast receivers.
It's never a challenge. Again, I don't know what it said about Kansas City. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I feel great about them going to Buffalo. They finally have to play a game on the road. Like, I think the Bills are better than them. I think they should have beat them. Well, actually, Kansas City should have beat them the first time around at Arrowhead. But that was the offsides play. But, I mean, we'll talk about it as we get closer. But I just don't know what I feel about Kansas City. I will say this. You know, everybody said, like, those temperatures are dangerously cold. Yeah. Like, are they really? Because I'm seeing a bunch of players in, like, short sleeves. They survived.
Lunatics.
I saw fans with, like, no shirts on.
I heard
didn't see anybody
that
carted away or saw stories of it.
Wow.
It's like, is it fiction that, like, it's really as dangerous as everybody says? I mean, cold is cold.
I don't think it's fiction
and I'm sure
at
you don't
all.
want to just sit there with nothing on in freezing cold weather. I get it. You can get, like, frostbite and stuff. But I looked at that game, and, yeah, it looked miserable at times, but it didn't look, like, unplayable. Like, for folks that thought they wanted to cancel that game because of the cold, I didn't even really think it was that. Like, it didn't look like, and I'm sitting there on my couch, right? It didn't look like it impacted the football game that much.
Here's where I thought the biggest issue would be for some guys, especially guys like Pacheco, because I saw this affecting him in pregame warmups. There was so much condensation coming off your breath that it was getting up into the visor on the inside and then freezing, so you couldn't see out of the visor anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. I think there are some things. Like, I wondered this. Mike McDaniel, does he have to practice using, like, the Surface tablet before he goes out there? Because, like, your hands aren't even working.
Oh, wow.
You know, like, listen, I've done a lot of cold weather reports. Your mouth doesn't work well, like talking.
Yeah.
Like,
well, your blood is literally tightening up. Yeah.
So, like, there are things like that I think are, you know, those are hurdles. But here's why I say I don't think the weather factored in as much as I thought it might. How many turnovers were in that game? Like, there were more drops last night in the who played last night? Oh, in the Eagles game than Bucks in nice weather in Tampa than there were in Kansas City game. And I think there might have been one fumble in the Kansas City game.
One turnover on each side.
Okay.
Tua threw a pick.
Tua threw a pick, that's right.
And then Kansas City lost a fumble.
Is that how that happened?
Yep.
But didn't you think the ball might be all over the place, as slick as it might be, as
and
cold
as hard
as it
might be,
and as hard as the ball would be? And it didn't. Now, I wonder how much of that has to do with, like, the heat underneath, because they put that in, like, 2016. I think they put the heat under, so it was 50 degrees on the field temp.
Well, there were a fair amount of drops in the game. Like, I saw Tyreek drop 1 or 2 passes that you'll never see him drop.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw him drop one in South Florida a couple weeks ago in the end zone all alone.
Fair enough.
But I will say this, guys. That's one of my observations from the weekend. Ton of drop passes. This isn't just like a Jacksonville thing. I know we highlight it when Jacksonville drops. There are drop passes everywhere by good players. Kate Otten dropped like 3 of them. Mike Evans dropped 2 of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got good players dropping footballs, and I'm not really sure why. Are they afraid to get hit? Are they trying to run, make plays after? But, I mean, these are simple catches.
Yeah.
And a lot of drops. No, there's some great catches, too. But it feels like there are a lot more drop passes in the NFL the last couple of years in my mind. And it's, again, not just Jacksonville, although Jacksonville's had their fair share.
Let's move on to the game that I thought was an interesting game, certainly the most interesting press conference of the entire weekend.
Interesting.
The Bills and the Steelers. Brent, the Steelers lost 17-31.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did. Did you see it coming? I mean, a lot of people thought Buffalo was going to go in there and rout it. I kind of forget how you felt about it when we left last weekend.
Listen, I think this was one of those games that really wasn't as close as the scoreboard indicated. It got tight. It got tight in the fourth quarter for a minute and a half. It got within one score. Casey, it was 21-0. It was 21-10. Then it was, was it 21-10?
It was 21-10, then 24-10.
24-10, then 24-17. Mm-hmm. And at 24-17, you're finally like, okay.
But did you ever really believe the Steelers were able to march down the field?
No, because they would have had to score, I think, twice at one. I think they got the ball back down 31-17 with 9 minutes to go. They would have had to score twice, which means it would have been perfect on offense. They're still dinking and dunking the ball down the field. Look, I appreciate Mike Tomlin. I really do. I appreciate the Steelers' effort. They're down a lot of guys. I don't know how that team wins 10 games. I really don't. So, this is a compliment. I'm not knocking the Steelers. If you're a Steelers fan, you watch this team. You wonder how they won 10 games half the year, too. They were winning games early in the season. We're like this. What is going on here? Why is this team winning? Heck, even the Jags, when they beat them, Jags should have beat them 35-10 that day.
Yep. It just doesn't happen.
They beat them 20-10. It's just a weird deal. And again, that is a compliment to them and to Mike Tomlin especially. But don't be fooled by their playoff appearance. They are far away from being a championship caliber team.
Yeah, I don't know. Far away is, I don't know.
So what do you think they have that could get them there that they need to lean in on then?
I think they need stuff, don't get me wrong. But they've got offensive weapons, right? If you could get Pickens the ball, he can make things happen.
I find it hard to believe you're winning a championship with a guy like George Carl Pickens.
Najee Harris is slow as hell. I don't know what is going on, but he looks slower than me. He's not. I just want to confirm. In a race, he would smoke me. But he looks slow. Jalen Warren looks 15 times faster than Najee Harris ever thought about being. But if they just had somebody that could, that's why the Mason Rudolph thing worked for a while. He could distribute the football to these humans.
I thought he played pretty well.
If they just had a quarterback that could, if the bar wasn't, can you throw the ball actually? And the bar was, can you be a middle to maybe higher tier NFL quarterback? That team has a shot.
I mean, they have that in Mason Rudolph. They have a guy who can manage the game, who's not going to be an upper-level quarterback.
You think they're good with Baker Mayfield?
That's a good call.
Because I don't.
You don't think they'd be good with Baker Mayfield?
No, I don't. I think it's more than the quarterback. That's my point. Again, and in their defense, they have a bunch of injuries, too. I mean, they pulled Myles Jack out of retirement, and he's played the last couple weeks in huge games.
Bro is making plays.
So they've got they've got some excuses. But I think they have missed on Harris. I think Pickens you don't know which day he's going to show up. I think there's a toughness that used to be in Pittsburgh that doesn't necessarily exist with this football team. I think they've got I think they coach the hell out of that team, and they get a lot out of him, and they've got a game wrecker in T.J. Watt when he plays. Obviously, they didn't have him this game. They've got pieces, but to me, they're not even close, so they're not like Baker Mayfield away.
I think, here's the thing. When it was 21-10 and they kicked a field goal, I thought it was close. I felt on my couch watching that they had a shot. So if I just thought about it, if you put Baker Mayfield and it's 21-10, I feel good about the Steelers. So I guess the answer is yeah, I think they're significantly better with Baker Mayfield.
Steelers defense, to me, I think was underrated for most of the year. And you're not going to find it showing up in games where they hold teams to 7 points. But it's not just T.J. Watt as a game wrecker. They got guys like Minka Fitzpatrick. They got guys like Joey Porter Jr., who was one of the least targeted corners in the league this year.
He's an up-and-coming player. He's a talented kid.
The offense is really the stumbling block here. The fact is you don't know what you're doing under center with that team. I think next year they're going back in there with Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, fighting for it in the preseason, and that's a recipe for missing the playoffs next year, I think. Najee Harris, I understand you think he looks slow.
He looks slow.
I like Najee Harris. I think the locker room likes Najee Harris. He says very poignant things when a microphone is in front of his face. His teammates seem to like him. That backfield is good with Jaylen Warren. You don't need to make changes on that back.
I agree.
Deontay Johnson's a good receiver. Is he your number one, especially if you're trying to be a championship team? I don't see it.
That's a team that could use A.J. Brown.
George Pickens, I think there are too many problems with this kid. Too many, and it's too early.
Yeah.
And even a coach like Mike Tomlin can't rein this kid in. You're going to have a lot of problems when you get to a coach like somebody else.
Freiermuth is a good player. Listen,
when he's healthy, he's good. He just hasn't been healthy.
It's rough to get on the field.
Guys, don't you look at them and maybe it's just me, and I know it was cold yesterday, and this helps, but they don't remind me of Iowa's offense. They got the same colors. Iowa's offense in terms of being so putrid. They're not that bad, but they're Iowa's offense in terms of the speed they operate. Mm-hmm. They just don't play fast.
That was confusing too. They're like driving down the field in the start of the fourth when they eventually score and whatever.
Needing 2 scores, 3 scores.
Bro is taking it down to 1 second. I'm like, you need to score twice.
But Kasey, like Johnson's fat, like he's a fast Pickens has speed, of course, but they don't look fat. Like, they're just teams that look fast. Then there are teams that look methodic, and sometimes that's an okay formula. Like, I would argue to you that, like, the Eagles, even last year when they were good, I thought at times they didn't look fast, but they really were. Right, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I mean, you add that dynamic of being they can bully you and then they can beat you.
Right.
I still feel like the Steelers want to bully you, but they can't really beat you. And when I say beat you, I mean deep.
All right, we're headed to break. We're starting to get lightning round real quick. Stephon Diggs, 7 for 52. Did we just watch the last Bills game for Stephon Diggs?
Well, not the last one. He'll play next week.
Is this the last year for Stephon Diggs if he can't turn it around is really what I mean.
I don't think they can get out from that contract. I think
they could trade him if someone could take him on.
I think they'll keep him.
Mike Tomlin. Is this the last Steelers game we've seen Mike Tomlin coach?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either. I think there are some thoughts, maybe like Dallas or an Eagles or somebody. I think he's staying in Pittsburgh.
I'm in.
Does Kenny Pickett ever play for the Steelers ever again?
He has to.
Yeah. I mean, he'll play again. I don't know if he's the guy. I think they'll try to make a move at quarterback in some way, shape, or form. But he'll be on the roster because what's he only 2 years in or something?
I think they have to try to play him again.
Next is the third,
Yeah. So, but they've got to start looking ahead. They've got to get more out of that position, no doubt. So, pretty interesting.
Welcome back, Brent.
Oh, good. I'll throw it to break.
Cool.
Sure thing, bro. Your name's on the show.
I've got so many big thoughts coming off this weekend, though.
Were they about me?
No.
Oh,
none of them.
Never mind.
We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
On and off rain today will gradually diminish this afternoon from west to east, with temperatures falling into the 50s, leading to a cold night tonight, down into the 20s inland to the mid-30s at the beaches, but with lower wind chills, and a sunny and cold Wednesday, highs tomorrow near 50. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Start the year with a new or used vehicle at Nimnick Buick GMC. New year, new truck. There are trucks, and then there's the truck, the GMC Sierra. I love mine, and you can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s and enjoy rates as low as 0.9% APR financing. Try a Terrain or Acadia with rates as low as 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers. Used car? Well, try the Car Bravo program. Nimnick certifies all makes and models. NimnickBuickGMC.com or the showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC. We are professional grade.
Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Winter, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial ** Invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Meet Mike Lester.
Talent is not going to be the right choice for every single person out there, right? Because everybody is different. We do well when our clients do well. We're literally sitting on the same side of the table with them. We're in this together.
Yeah.
When you do well, I'll do well. Once we have that understanding, then we can come up with a plan that's designed to help you be successful in retirement.
Find out more at guardingyournestegg.com.
Advisory services through Talon Private Wealth and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Florida license D056341.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go! Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
You don't even like your quarterback.
Kasey Kuhrts.
You don't even like your team.
And Aaron Schachter.
I don't even like myself, guys. Do you know me?
On Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
There's a lot of stuff going on. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kuhrts. It was kind of nice to get away from the Jags, although it's impossible to get away from the Jags this weekend, because every time you tweet about another team, everyone will come back and relate it to the Jags. Like, why do we have to do that, Kasey?
Stop tweeting.
You talking about the Jags fans or other teams fans?
Both.
Because that's something that happens too.
Both. It's just
like, have you seen Mason Rudolph today? And they're like, what about Trevor? Shut up.
That's exactly what happened.
Shut up.
Like, it was nonstop. And I'm like, obviously, we're still in our feelings. We're not over this.
Yep.
We are not over this. I thought by Friday, maybe we'd be over it. Not over it. And I get it. And that's cool. I know it's disheartening. I did have this question. This is easy to say and stupid to do in a way, but we're going to do it anyway. Do you think the Jags would have beaten the Browns? Like, do you feel like the Jags would have been eliminated today even if they had made the playoffs, which obviously was right there. But so would they have been more Philadelphia? We're Philadelphia 10-1. The thing about Philadelphia, the thing that makes it different to me than Jacksonville is they had already qualified for the playoffs after 11 games. The Jags hadn't yet qualified.
Yeah.
But it was the same type of deal. The problem is they were already booked into the playoffs. How do you feel about that? Would they have beaten Cleveland?
Which Jags? The Jags that lost all
The Jags
those
that
games
would have had
end
to
the
show
season?
up this weekend.
Because if you're talking about the Jags that beat the Bills, I think they beat the Browns.
It wasn't those Jags.
Yeah, it's definitely not those Jags, but it would have been a Jags team that had won 2 in a row, so it wouldn't feel like they had just blown it against Tennessee. You have to put yourself in that mindset.
Sure, they'd be knocking on a 3-game
And the
win
reason
streak.
I bring this up, guys, because I was really confident that if the Jags did make it, that they would beat the Browns. And there were 2 reasons why I really thought. And again, we'll go back. I thought Flacco was going to run out of juice at some point. But I also think they're a different team on the road. And I'm going to add a third one, and I'll keep going here. And again, this is kind of a moot point. It doesn't matter. But they would have been really healthy. Like the Jags would have had all 22 of their guys healthy for that football game. Like that's very significant this time of year as you watch other teams playing like 5th and 6th linebackers.
Yeah.
No.
So I don't know if it matters. You don't think they would have?
No, I think you just talked about it last segment. The Texans have guys open by 7 yards in every direction. The Jags don't have that. Jags aren't scheming that happening. No, Jags couldn't run the ball. I don't know if you remember that. Jags couldn't run the ball. And I think in Cleveland, even on the road, their defense is worse. I get it. But JOK and their linebackers played well the other day. And the only thing the Jags could really do effectively at the end was throw it to Evan Ingram 8 yards away from the line of scrimmage, which is about where their linebackers would be, who played phenomenal. So, no, I don't think it's set up well.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's, hey, here's the thing. This is what we don't know. Might just be a bad matchup. Sure as hell looked like Green Bay and Dallas was a bad matchup.
Yeah.
Right? What they couldn't stop it. And that does happen. That happens in sports. You get a good matchup, you might be all right. Now, you might have to get some breaks and still play well, but you get a bad matchup, it's like, whoa. And that certainly seemed like they couldn't figure out the bad matchup.
Sometimes to me, I'm watching games, especially in the playoffs, and I go, momentum matters so much more than I give credit for sometimes.
Like, the Bucks and Eagles certainly played that way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Bucks are feeling good about themselves. I still don't know what makes them great. Like, they look okay to me.
Well, they've got options on offense. I think that's the big plus. Outside of that, I'm with you. I'm not really sure why this team is special.
Yeah, they've created options. Like, their running backs are okay.
Rashawn White is good.
Okay.
Otten has played well, but I think he's playing above his head. But Godwin and Evans are just amazing.
Yeah, especially Evans. And everything works through him. And their defense is playing lights out. I mean, Bowles has it cooking, to his credit, you know? So this is a bigger picture question when I ask that about the Jags winning or losing in your mind over Cleveland if they were to have played. And I look at 3 teams that operate in some respects like the Jags. Would you guys agree the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Jaguars are in the same family?
How so? How are you comparing these?
It's
What's
same
the common
tree.
thread?
The biggest
The Andy Reid tree?
The Andy Reid tree.
Okay.
Again, I'm not telling you they're all built the same way. I mean, listen, to me, my opinion, the Eagles got old. The Eagles are old. They've got a bunch of guys 30+. And I thought that was a huge benefit last year, and it looked like it was a huge benefit earlier this year.
Not just a bunch of guys, a bunch of big-name defensive guys up front,
like that.
Fletcher Cox
And some
stuff,
people are like, well, they still had a great year. They still went to the All-Pro. Doesn't matter. You're talking about January football as an old person. Like, you get tired. People don't want to admit this, but you get tired.
Jason
you lose
Kelce
it.
just retired.
It goes fast. It goes fast. The Jags are totally built different. They're not built as physically tough as the Eagles are. The Jags are built a little bit more like Kansas City. But the bottom line is something went amiss in Philly. Something went amiss here in Jacksonville. And to be honest with you, I know Kansas City is at that next step, but we all think they're a shell of who they've been the last 5 years, don't we? I mean, We're not giving them the odds-on favorite to go. We just think their resume actually speaks louder than probably their current performance.
I think they're winning this weekend.
So is that a problem with what the Jags have built? Do they have to look inside and be like, hey, maybe we've got to start, not just go cookie cutter to what this was, because that might be a thing of the past. The NFL changes fast.
Agreed. But I also think it's extremely rare to have a coach that wins all the time. Like outside of Tomlin, I'm having a hard time thinking of more. Like there are guys with winning records, sure, but guys putting in 10-win seasons every year, 9 to 11 wins every year, you don't see it too often. And so sometimes I feel like it has less to do with coaching trees and more to do with the total sum game. Coach plus GM, plus owner, plus roster, depending on where everyone's contracts are in the moment. Because it forces you into moves where you do have to take a chance. You got to go, all right, maybe this guy can step up this year because we got to get rid of this contract. Or maybe this coordinator is ready for the big show because this other one just left to be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah, I see.
Like in Philadelphia, I thought all the problems started at OC and DC for this team. And then I think it trickled down into the locker room where players start to fight with each other, and then it becomes a real problem.
Yeah, you brought that up. It was interesting as people were diagnosing that Eagles thing. And I think they're doing the same thing we did here in Jacksonville. It's like, okay, what went wrong? Like, where is this? How much is on Sirianni, right? How much is on the coordinator stuff? How much is on him changing? Did he panic? Like, in my opinion, when you change midseason like that, you're panicking with a first-year defensive coordinator instead of seeing it through. And that's not good leadership in that respect.
Every metric following that change from Desai to Patricia was worse.
But on the offensive side of things, who was it that changed? Pittsburgh and
from Matt Canada.
And
Buffalo went to Joe
Brady.
Which also looked panic move. McDermott looked like a panic move. It's like, look at the numbers.
Another Andy Reid guy,
show here, and we said the numbers were like good.
Yeah.
Bro is cooking.
On Dorsey, right? The metrics said good. Well, it worked. Like for both those guys, they got better. Pittsburgh got better. So I don't know what's right and wrong. That's my thing. I can give you evidence of things that work and things that don't. I think what we want as sports fans sometimes, and maybe what we want in society really, is we want this like absolute. We want an absolute answer. And I think that's why people like to fire people. It's like, okay, that part's done, right? Well, the reality is the Eagles went on a slide probably for a multitude of reasons. I think the Jags went on a slide for a multitude of reasons. I can't still figure out, nobody else can, why the Dallas Cowboys can't win in the playoffs. I mean, Dan Quinn's going to get like 5 head coaching opportunities this week, and he couldn't stop anything the other day. What is he? Is he good or is he bad? Like I just it's such an imperfect game.
Yeah.
That
there are so many variables.
But
that's
we don't
why
want
it
to
makes
admit
it so
that. Why
tough.
don't we want to admit that? But there are.
There are so many. Yeah. There are just so many things happening simultaneously. That's why it's so rare that you put together a magical season. Granted, I know it's 1 out of 32 every year, but it's so rare that your franchise is the franchise that puts together the magical season that goes to the Super Bowl, because you really have to do it for 2 or 3 years in a row to get there. Almost nobody goes from terrible to Super Bowl, right? You really have to do terrible to mid to good to Super Bowl a lot of times. Maybe sometimes you skip a year or something like that. But the Andy Reid coaching tree, I don't think is actually doing too terrible.
No, I don't think it's terrible. I just wonder, it raises questions in my mind like, okay, are people figuring it out? And is now that McVay-Shanahan thing that you got to go that way? You got to steal some principles from them on offense to be able to be where you want to be, because everybody's kind of dialed in we've been trying to figure out Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes for the last 6-7 years.
But McVay and Shanahan are just the Mike Shanahan tree, which everyone's been trying to figure out.
With a
years.
lot of new concepts, though. I mean, I think at least that's my view on it, because the game has modernized and morphed a little bit since Mike Shanahan was doing things. And I guess my thought in that, Aaron, is I think the Jags have to look at themselves and say, all right, we can't be stubborn and just do this because it worked in Philly, or because our numbers have been better here in Jacksonville, or because, we dropped a lot of passes and the plays were there, but we're going to still do it. Maybe there's too much of this screen game in Philly, in Jacksonville. I know people are kind of sick of that. Does that have to be used to the amount that's being used? Maybe the answer is yes. I'm just saying that's an example of looking at it and being like, well, let's adopt this instead, so we kind of recreate and try to stay ahead of the league, because I do think that's a thing. I think offensively and defensively, the league figures things out, the next thing comes along, and then you've got to stay ahead of the curve.
Casey, don't you think if the Jags could run at 4 to 5 yards a clip, half the screens that we saw this year wouldn't exist?
This is a good point.
I would say yes.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think actually that's a good number, and I didn't get to do this today. If you look at the teams that won, and their offensive output obviously was pretty good to win, I think every one of them ran for like 4.5, 5 yards a clip. Now, did they run 30 times? Probably not, but they mixed it in. I think Casey brought up Pacheco.
I mean, it's got to be a threat to the defense.
Got to be a threat.
Yeah.
Got to be a threat. And then you got play action off that.
Yes.
So I think, again, here I am trying to reinvent the wheel, but it might be very simplistic in that. I think these guys have to deep dive and ask themselves these questions. I think the Lions are a beautiful example. I love what happened with the Lions. I think it's really cool. But you know what? I also think that Stafford should have had a roughing the passer penalty against him, And I think Puka was like held, interfered with, and everything else. And if those two plays happen, they lose the game, and we don't think they're such a darling.
The Lions, yeah.
The Lions, like, it was a 1-point game.
Yeah.
They scored 3 points in the second half. Like, that's the way this stuff tilts. That's what I said last week when the Jags lost to Tennessee. What that one game meant around here, to win versus losing, might hamper this franchise for the next few years. But in a city like Detroit, just eking that out, getting a break here or there. Were they that much better than the Rams? I don't know. I mean, they're 1 point better. I would have loved to see Goff. I would have loved to see McVay go for 7 yards, kick a field goal, take the lead, and have Goff see if he could go down and get the game-winning field goal.
I don't think that was happening the other day.
It didn't look like it because they had kind of figured them out, right? So it's just amazing where our minds go into these absolute terms where things could really change on a play. And the story would be so much different.
You know, you mentioned Andy Reid's coaching tree. We've talked before about the Belichick coaching tree not being so great, or at least not having great results in the NFL. The Andy Reid coaching tree is peppered with some good stories here. You got Sean McDermott, who we had our doubts on earlier this year, but, 62-35, head coach right now. He's done a good job. He's in the playoffs multiple years.
And he resurrected this season.
He did. John Harbaugh, Super Bowl winner.
Is he off the Reid tree?
He is.
Really?
You've got Matt Nagy. Didn't necessarily have a great run as head coach in the NFL. Doug Peterson, obviously. Ron Rivera, storied career. Maybe not ending the way he wanted it to, but winning record. Todd Bowles in the playoffs with the Bucs this year.
Todd.
Pat Shurmur, didn't work out in New York for him. Leslie Frazier, a name we've talked about as a possible defensive coordinator, making even more sense now that he's coming from the Reid tree in my eyes. Spagnuolo, another vaunted defensive coordinator. And then a few more names. It's a pretty decent tree to me.
Oh, listen, it's a great tree. I'm just saying you better reevaluate every year and try to throw new wrinkles in. You can't just sit here and do the same thing and hope it's going to work because the league does catch up with you. And those guys are doing that anyway. Like, that's part of their offseason plan. It's just with the common nature of where the Eagles, Jags, and Chiefs were like a year ago versus where I think they are now just raised some concerns in my mind because they're connected on that family tree.
Yeah.
Should Sirianni be fired? Next on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet. Now open in St. Augustine.
From selling out of a back of a car to one of the biggest outfitters in the Southeast, Baker Sports is quite the story. And on a daily basis, they are helping you write your story with a high school name or sports team across a uniform and so much more. And now it's a one-stop shop with Baker Sports, carrying Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. They already make you look good, and now they can help you look better than ever. Baker Sports, custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team, and it's easy to do at bakersport.com.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Men, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. 98% of men see instant results on their first office visit. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Men are even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
But that's not all. For a limited time only, call Prime Men's Medical Center now, and your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8221. 904-664-8221. That's 904-664-8221.
Hey folks, now that the kids and grandkids have gone home and the decorations are coming down, I can see that it's time to get my carpets and sofas cleaned. That's where Zero Res comes in. Zero Res can clean the carpets, the sofa, the chairs, the area rugs, and even the tile and grout. Google Zero Res and see what your neighbors are saying with over 5,000 five-star customer reviews. Right now, get 20% off carpet cleaning and 20% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back just for buying the gas I was going to buy anyway.
But is it a hassle to use?
No, it's super fast and easy, and I can cash out whenever I want.
That's a total no-brainer. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PASS for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PASS. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PASS for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PASS.
This year, I resolved to have a whole new view in life.
Nice. So what are we talking? New attitude? Maybe new glasses?
Nope. New windows and doors from American Window Products.
New view. I see what you did there.
They're Jacksonville's oldest family-owned replacement window and door company. Great prices, selection, professional installation. They look great, too. And you can save $250 off any entry door and free installation on 6 or more windows in January when you call 731-2247 or visit AmericanWindowProducts.com.
Thanks. I'll give them a look.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. All right, get to Nick Sirianni in a moment. Mike Tomlin staying in Pittsburgh, NFL Network saying?
Yeah, NFL Network says Mike Tomlin expected to stay in Pittsburgh for his 18th season, and what else would they be doing there?
Yeah, the walking off the podium, I was telling you in the break, I watched a little bit of that. It was like a last question kind of deal. It wasn't like it was the 3 minutes into the news conference. So to me, it took on a bit different meaning. He's coming off a loss. He's like, I'm not doing this.
Because it looks sus from, very far away on TV on a different channel.
It is amazing, like how much that stuff like really gets magnified, right?
Well, it doesn't help that you're not using your words as Mike Tomlin or anyone in the organization. You're just walking away and letting everyone speculate.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of it is, Tomlin's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do. He's kind of made that clear over the years. He's not worried about how you interpret it.
Yeah, I guess the one thing there is he's got one more year left on his deal. I'm sure the Steelers want to extend. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Does he want to extend? Is he even interested in coaching after the deal is done?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
He's not 40 years old.
No, he's not 70 either.
Nope.
But, all right, you got this. Jim Harbaugh seeks unusual protections in Michigan contract extension talks.
I love this.
What is this?
It's the immunity clause. He's basically asking Michigan not only to make him the highest paid coach in college football, which I get. Fine, you just won the national championship. But the clause is no matter what the NCAA finds, you're not allowed to fire me. So it's one thing to pay out a contract, because those clauses happen all the time. It's another thing to force the organization to keep you on. And some people are speculating he's doing that because he knows Michigan won't or can't.
Yeah.
And then he could just walk away with less guilt.
I still feel like he's leaving. Yeah, this might be his excuse. It's like, you do a contract and I can do no wrong and you can't fire me. I mean, that's kind of a goofy contract. Listen, they're already goofy contracts.
Sure.
That would be even more goofy.
But if anyone was getting the immunity clause, you better believe it's Jim Harbaugh.
Raheem Morris, the interview with the Panthers on Wednesday, you thought this was interesting
I just
because
think it's weird. You got Ejiro Evero over there as a top-notch defensive coordinator, head coaching prospect, had like 4 interviews last coaching cycle. Now you're going to bring in someone like Raheem Morris, who's also the same type of guy, big defensive coordinator, who's been a head coach before. It just feels like a too many cooks in the kitchen situation.
Kasey, Caleb Williams enters the draft. Was all that stuff smoke? Like, do you think any of that was real, like over these last however many months, about where I want to play, what place I want to play, tell me what you're going to do?
Oh, I'm sure some of it was real.
You think so?
What percentage?
10.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's like 15, 20% real. Maybe he said to someone off the record,
I'd rather not play for the Bears.
I'd rather not play for the Bears. Maybe I'll just stay in school, not being serious.
But remember, when Trevor was being drafted, there was that here. Like, there was some smoke out there, like, or rumors out there that he's not going to play in Jacksonville.
Knowing what you know about Trevor, now you know how impossible that comment is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these guys just throw this stuff out there. I don't know who throws it out there. Maybe it's an agent, whatever. And maybe it's a team. They muddy it up.
Yeah.
That's what's fun about that kind
That
of
is
year.
what's fun. It's a little counter-op. Love it.
Football at 5 coming up next on ESPN 690. The January weather has been fluctuating, those temperatures dipping down in the evenings and mornings. Is your heating system safe to use? The team at Bold City Heating and Air specializes in system revitalization and optimizing your system so it runs safe and at peak efficiency. Schedule your winter system checkup for only $49 at boldcityac.com. Bold City Heating and Air can help you save hundreds of dollars on your energy bill, too. Get the checkup, save money, and make sure your AC unit is safe for all the weather conditions. Schedule online at boldcityac.com.
Investing is one of the ways you can help secure your financial future. Make sure you're investing with a registered investment professional who is required to act in your best interest when recommending investments to you and when investing your assets. Florida's Office of Financial Regulation has information and resources online to help you verify that you're working with a registered member of the financial services industry. Visit flofr.gov to learn more. This message is sponsored by the Florida Office of Financial Regulation, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Life is about making decisions, and right now you can make the decision to get lasting relief from that awful joint pain that you feel. Do it for the rest of 2024. Do it for the rest of your life. Don't go another year compromising because of that pain in your knees, your shoulder, your back, your hips. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative non-surgical pain relief. Your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue. QC Kinetics can make it happen. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. This is not a Band-Aid. This is a revolutionary treatment that can get you moving again, get your life back. And hey, it's non-surgical. If this is the year you decide to fight back against that pain, take the first step now and call QC Kinetics. Get a free consultation, 904-274-5522, 904-274-5522 in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. The future of pain treatments has arrived, and QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients. You can be the next one. 904-274-5522, a free consultation with QC Kinetics.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. One day after walking out of a news conference when asked about his contract, Mike Tomlin told Steelers players and coaches today he plans to coach the team in 2024. ESPN's Adam Schefter's reporting Eagles center Jason Kelce told his teammates he will retire. Asked if he's concerned about his job status, Eagles coach Nick Sirianni said he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about the guys in the locker room. Quarterback Jalen Hurts' answer to if he wanted Sirianni back for another season, he didn't know his coach was going anywhere. Philadelphia needs to think beyond 2024 when it comes to a call on Sirianni, suggests ESPN's Louis Riddick.
Is he really the guy that you want leading the charge going down the stretch here in terms of like a couple of years from now? Or is Bill Belichick in play? Is that the kind of guy who needs to be in play here? Because personally, I think it's something that you definitely have to consider.
Belichick has interviewed for the Falcons' head coaching job, his first known interview since mutually parting ways with New England. NHL Golden Knights leading scorer Jack Eichel, week to week after surgery to repair lower body injury. NBA Kings coach Mike Brown fined $50,000 for criticizing referees during and after Sunday's loss.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you which underdog has the best chance to pull off the upset in the divisional round. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, your chance to win $1,000 as ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, JOI, where the pros go.
Enter the word drive. That's DRIVE at ESPN690.com by 15 past the hour.
Your next chance to win $1,000 and have ESPN 690 pay your bills happens tomorrow morning at 8. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys. Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Football at 5, Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kuhrts. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. Thanks for hanging with us this afternoon. Florida Gators, by the way, and they got their game moved up couple hours because of snow in Knoxville. How about the weather around the country is wild. There's I saw some temperatures like negative 70 wind chills.
Oh.
No big deal, guys.
South Dakota or something like that. Man, that's nuts.
Can't imagine what North Dakota's like then.
All right, I have something to get to before Sirianni and tweets and everything else.
Oh, no.
And also Belichick, which is interesting.
Interesting.
Do you guys care that Trent Baalke hasn't talked?
You know, it's funny you asked this question because I was wondering if we'd see Trent. I thought it was mandatory for general managers to speak at the end of the year and at no other time, and I guess that's not the case. Every general manager should be made to account for the season at the end of the year. Every one of them, even if it's not on them. They're the ones constructing the roster. You don't get to question them. I find it wild.
Well, and I think he talked pretty quick after last year, if I'm not mistaken. So here, the rule is, by NFL rules, a coach or head coach, a coach or a GM or has to talk at the end of the year. So a lot of times, obviously, the coach is going to talk no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Well, then you have a bunch of different situations that
you're searching for a coach. So you don't even have a coach to talk. Or you might be searching for a GM, for that matter. So there's...
Well, then the owner should talk in those instances.
So they throw the quarterback up there.
Well,
Hey,
no, but I'm like, if you fired the GM, and like if you are Tepper, then you should hold a press conference and account to your fans.
Well, but I don't mind it. And maybe you should. And I don't mind it, I guess, if you're not talking before your search is done. Because what are you going to say?
We're looking.
I guess, right?
Next question.
So here's what I did. I went back and looked at all the other teams.
Oh, boy.
And still playing or just lost. If you just lost, I gave you, obviously, it's fresh, right?
Okay.
And you might have talked today. I might not even have looked it up. But 12 teams were in that category at the time I did this.
All right.
6 teams have a coaching search going on. So I've given them the pass, right? So that's 18 out of the 32 accounted for. Still playing, just lost.
By the way, I wouldn't give them a pass. You'd expect to see the GM, but okay, for the purposes of this conversation.
Teams with just the head coach talking, 4 of them.
Ooh.
Including the Jags. And then GM and head coach talking, 10 of them. 3 owners also talked, from my count. And on top of that, I think Seattle talked today.
Yeah, the GM.
And Washington talked today because they hired a GM. Mm-hmm. So you can actually add 2 more to that list.
Do you have the names of the teams that were head coach only?
Yeah, the other 3.
Give me a second.
By the way, Seattle, everybody talked multiple times. Pete Carroll was up there.
Did they go multiple times?
Yeah, everybody was up there.
So, listen, it is what it is, but at the same time, I think we get accustomed to the fact that we don't think Shad's going to talk very often.
Right.
And it is like Jerry Jones talks every week. Some owners don't talk a lot. Like I think Shad's stance of not talking is more common than people think.
It's their team. They want to spend money on it. Fine. If you've got a general manager and a head coach to account for the decision making and the path you took this season, you don't need the owner to talk. What's the owner going to tell you? But if you don't have a GM or a coach, someone's got to go up there and face the fans.
So, Ben, well, and here's the other side of it from the Jags' point of view. And listen, I love the Jags on a lot of different levels, the people down there and everything else. But, I mean, they really played this because Peterson talked at 3 o'clock. He was actually late to the presser. And then they made the announcement, or it got out, that they had fired Caldwell and stuff that night. So he got in front of it. Nobody's even reacted to that yet, which was, I guess you could call it smart on his side.
No, it was absolutely on purpose timed.
But the Bengals are one, they just had a head coach talk. Now, it's interesting is there's not a lot to talk about. They lost their quarterback, right?
What are you going to say?
What are you going to say? But actually, I found it interesting that Burrow did come out and talk, even though he hadn't played in like 2 months.
Well, yeah, I don't know if maybe interesting is the right word, but I'm not flagged by that. I feel like that's what you should do, to be real.
You probably should.
And by the way, the Bengals don't officially have a general manager. They have a guy in charge of personnel, but he's not technically a general manager.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If anything, though, what's that guy going to say? Like, if whoever made the,
Well, I'd say, what are you going to do with Browning? Because he played pretty well.
That's the only reason that whoever would come out and be like, yeah, it turns out we had a good backup.
Well, no, you got Higgins coming up in the offseason? Sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you regret giving the contract to Burrow because he's hurt 2 out of the last 3 years?
Like, there are questions to be asked. You may not get answers you're looking for, but you got to at least ask the questions.
So anyway,
I think so.
How much we can criticize or not, I'm just saying that they're one. The Jags are another. Give me a second here. The Saints.
Who did make a change, but not a general manager.
They just made a change today. Pete Carmichael.
Yes.
So as far as I see it, that's 2 of 3 that there are serious questions that need to be asked. I don't think there's many in Cincinnati. You guys do, that's fine.
And then the other one is the Cardinals.
What are you going to ask?
That at least the way when I looked at it, I couldn't find the GM. But my guess is they're going to talk a bunch because of the draft process too, where they are.
I mean, yes and no. They're not in position.
The Cardinals?
To get quarterback?
No, but they're high picked.
But they're high. Where were they picked?
3 or 4?
Yeah, but they're not in that top 2. So really, like, the question that you're going to ask doesn't really exist because I don't think you're picking quarterback if it's not one of the top 2.
But it exists in the fact that you've stated, or at least the coaches stated, they're riding into the sunset with Kyler Murray. What do you plan to do with the draft capital? Can you talk about any of the process? What can we expect as far as the calendar goes? Like, there are questions about what comes next for this team, I think.
I don't know.
Especially after this season that was disappointing. Look, anytime you have a disappointing season, at a minimum, you should be hearing from either GM or head coach on what we plan to address this offseason.
Yeah, I'm with it on head coach, but to me, like, if you're specifically talking about Arizona, I don't know what else we're learning from the GM that we're not learning from the coach. Our quarterback was out for 10 weeks or whatever it was. We looked better when he was in there. We're riding with it. Like, I just don't know if there's much to learn for Arizona. You know they need help in a lot of spots.
How about the fact that you thought they were unloading, like, to a crazy degree when the season started, and then suddenly that all stopped? Like, don't you want to hear about the philosophy behind that?
Yeah.
No?
Do we have a philosophy? Yeah, I don't know.
You hope they do if they're your favorite team.
That's fair.
Listen, so where did we come to? Did you want him to talk, right? You think he should talk? Kasey?
I don't think there's anything substantial to learn from it.
Really? See,
I'm not saying that he shouldn't talk. I'm saying I don't think there's anything substantial to learn from it.
Well, look,
it's funny, I usually would play on that side. I think there are a lot of answers. Like, I actually would have a ton of questions. We can get Baalke on right now. I'd want to know.
What would you ask me, Brent?
I'd want to know exactly what you would ask him this question. You stood pat. Why did you stand pat? Why was that the way to make it work?
No, I get it. There's a billion questions for Trent Baalke that he should answer. He's not going to answer it. Why'd you stand pat? Well, we thought we were in a good spot.
Well, he won't say no comment is the point, right? So any answer can lead you to a real answer if you ask differently enough.
But there's a chance now he might not talk until the combine. I'm trying to think of the next time he could talk. We've chased people down at the Senior Bowl in the past. This organization the last few years has been a little iffy on the Senior Bowl in terms of who's going. Sometimes they were trying to hire a coach and stuff, so that factored in. But I don't like Super Bowl, Pro Bowl. They're not going there. I think the next time would be the combine, man. Like, if we don't hear from Trent Baalke, there's a couple of things going through my mind. One, you don't get answers on guys like Luke Fortner. You don't get answers on Calvin Ridley. You don't get how they're thinking. You don't get it. And again, I get what you're saying, Kasey. They're not going to give you the answers, Brent. Understood. But the bottom line is you could get a feel for what they're thinking, what they were thinking, their philosophy of how much they have to change it up.
You can absolutely get a tip of the cap, too. And in the case of Fortner, you could hear from Trent that the plan is to bring in competition next year. He's not giving anything away on that. That's not some big secret if they plan to do that.
Yeah, where do they see Strange and Bigsby? Did they see more than we saw, right? Even though the stats didn't say so or whatever else. I think they can ease the fan base, or maybe it would inflame the fan base. I don't know. I don't know. But I do think that's part of the gig. When you, especially in the Jags situation where they flopped, they definitely flopped at the end. And they were there, and they looked like they were. Listen, I was praising them, and I sat there and said, "Hey, you got to 8-3. I don't know how you can claim the roster's terrible. You were 8-3, and playing for the number 1 seed, but now you got to explain a little bit more to your fans and to everybody else why this thing went awry. How far away are you? Were you with the quarterback who obviously had to wrestle with some things the last 6 weeks? Like, there's just a lot of stuff out there that I think Baalke needs to answer to. And what I don't know why he hasn't talked or isn't talking. I also don't know what it means. Doesn't mean the Jags are still wrestling with some internal discussions. Doesn't feel that way. The reports out this week that they were going to interview defensive coordinator. They're meeting with the brass. That means they're meeting with Baalke, potentially Shad, but definitely Doug and Baalke.
But don't you feel like Shad Khan's ownership run has not been one shrouded in a ton of secrecy? Like, I feel like as far as owners go, he doesn't mind talking occasionally.
No. I think Shad does something that's incredibly well done on his behalf. I don't think you can figure him out. And I also think I don't think he is very transparent. I don't think we still don't know or have a great feel for who were the finalists last year. You can believe who you want to believe, or you can think what you want to think, and we all do that. But do we really know? Especially in hindsight, like when Doug Peterson was hired, who were the other 2 candidates? How close were they to fire and Leftwich? Was that made up? Was Hackett close? Like, we don't really have a good feel for that stuff.
Did I see you tweet about that earlier? About telling us who they interview, or is that somebody else?
That was last night. I tweeted that too. Like, the Jags don't do that. Like, the Denver Broncos
do you feel like you need that?
I don't know if we need it, but I don't know what hurts it.
Like, I would like to know. I just don't know that I need the team to tell me who. But
I find the more teams are doing it, and I kind of am curious why the Jags don't.
Yeah, it
because
should be
I
a
don't
known
know what's
entity.
the disadvantage. Why do I need to hear it from Schachter, Rappaport, or Rossini, or Pelissero, or any of these guys when the Atlanta Falcons are coming out and saying they interviewed Bill Belichick? Like, what's the harm with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you would.
Why you would say
that?
Yeah, what does it gain?
You don't want someone to
Well,
jump.
what do you lose?
Well, you don't want someone to jump in front
Nothing,
of you
I
with
just-
an offer or something like. I'll give you an example. Odell Beckham Jr. recently said on a podcast that the Ravens told him if he even met with the Jets, their offer for 15 was off the table. And Odell was like, as far as I was concerned, I was ready to accept a $12 million offer from the Jets. And then the Ravens gave me 15 and said, if you even sniff them, we're taking it off the table. That's the kind of transparency where if the Jets go, we're meeting with Odell later this week, the Ravens can go, here's the offer, take it or leave it.
I guess I get it more on the free agency wheel. Like, we were going to learn a half hour later that Belichick talked.
Yeah.
And by the way, here, I'll even give you this. I think we might have learned it from Schachter first, and then Atlanta tweeted it or something like that. I don't know what the timing was, but at least they just confirmed it. Denver used to be, again, I'm not like clamoring for this. I just don't see the harm in doing it.
Yeah.
Denver actually did this years ago. I thought it was wild to see. They actually showed parts of the interview. They showed parts of the interview.
Pretty wild.
Which was awesome. Obviously, they didn't show the whole interview.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool for their fans, for people interested, to see the transparency. Again, we're getting this information. And I guess what you do if you stop the spread of misinformation, now maybe you want that. Maybe you want this misinformation. But this is another example of why I think like Baalke should talk and why you do have to have some transparency sometimes. I said this when Coughlin was in charge and everything got locked down again. Now, some of that was pandemic-oriented, but some of it got locked down where you couldn't walk the halls, you couldn't do this. Well, what happens, and Urban was the same way, what happens is misinformation gets spread because people are going to say stuff and other people are going to hear it as gospel and not just a thought on a radio show or I think this, but they said Brent said this and now. That's what happens, and then you get narratives, and then you have a lot of noise going. I just think you can stop the noise. You can't stop all the noise, and you can't answer to the public everything that's said or reported. I understand that, but I think you can get out in front of some things, and I think Baalke, for 20 minutes, being available to answer questions about where this season went wrong, and maybe him showing a little fire and how pissed off he is that it went wrong, can relate even to the fans. And I think from this coaching stuff that you were just asking about, I just don't see the harm in saying, yeah, we interviewed so-and-so. Like if the Jags wanted to say we interviewed Shane Bowen, what's the harm? I mean, it's been reported they're interviewing Shane Bowen. I'm assuming it's true.
Is it possible they're a little bit trigger shy just because they don't want to feel the ire of the fans when it's not a name that's at the top of the
Fair enough. I would call that pretty soft, but
I'm just asking if that's a possibility.
It's possible.
It's easier to make a graphic say we interviewed Bill Belichick than it is
yes, it is.
Rando one.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Jags are getting enough stuff in their mentions on their Twitter handle. I think they can take it. You know,
some of that.
But anyway, I do think. I think
like
the
maybe the
Baalke
Jags
thing is.
can take
I don't know
it.
why it hit me this weekend. I thought the Baalke stuff is interesting. It's like, okay, there's a lot of stuff out there. Like, does that mean they're wrestling with him not coming back? Does that mean he's wrestling with not coming back? I mean, we've heard some rumors and stuff of things, and I have not been able to validate any of them.
I'm not buying that.
And so I think the latest report was interesting to me when it said these defensive coordinators are meeting with the brass. To me, that means they're meeting with Peterson and Baalke. Like, this is Peterson and Baalke's ship still going forward. I don't think anything has changed there. But
you tell me, if you were the general manager, if the job was yours and you had a season like you just had, wouldn't you want to be out there showing that you are here? Like, this is your team. You're here to answer for it. Like, doesn't that help you, at least in my head?
I want to show you my wins and accept my losses.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Hold me to account because I am part of this team. I'm not just some guy who works in the front office. I'm a Jacksonville Jaguar. No. And I'm going to show you what it's all about.
Listen, I'll tell you from the outside looking in, here's what I can say from the outside looking, and I wonder, I don't know, but I think more transparency would help me not wonder this as much. Did Mike Caldwell get fired because Doug was mad at him or because he helped pick a guy like Devin Lloyd? And I don't know if he did, but did he advocate for him? And then 2 years later, you don't really know what Devin Lloyd is. Does that mean Trent's mad at him for doing that because we listened to you and we believed in it and you're not doing anything with it? How about Tank Bigsby? I picked Tank Bigsby in the 3rd round. Didn't play too well. The running back coach got fired. To me, that sounds like, wait a minute, that was your pick. But you're really blaming the coach for not developing him.
I mean, these are things that could fit, but you're also talking about a team whose defense was at the forefront of an epic end-of-season collapse and a running back room that just was not able to generate offense.
Again, you can't answer every question to the satisfaction of me or the fan base or anything else, but if you do attempt to answer questions or take questions, you can rule some of those kind of thoughts out, is my point.
Sure.
Right? Those are thoughts that I even have.
Or at least control the narrative you so hate. Like, if you don't like reporters running off with a story that doesn't exist, give them a story to run with.
Well, and here's one other thing, okay, guys? When you have a situation we have in Jacksonville where everybody's on fire, man. I mean, so disappointed. And you are too. Like, you thought they were there. Listen, if I'm Baalke, I'm pissed off because I think I've assembled a pretty good team and they melted down the stretch. I continue to say that same team was 8-3. How did you go 1-5 down the stretch? Is the coach's fault? Whatever. But I would want, if I'm shot, I would want my guys out there together to show unity, because what happens when you start firing people and when things go wrong, it's the finger-pointing game, and it happens all the time. And so I would want my guys out there together on stools for a 20-minute presser and say, hey, we're going to get this right. This was really disappointing. Like, I think with that's a symbolic show of we're good.
Yeah.
Right? And sure, people are going to pick apart what they say. That's part of the gig. But I think it doesn't look good that those guys didn't come out together. Because now it's got me wondering what's going on behind the scenes, because I know what happens in the NFL. I know people point fingers. Like, it happens. Like, I know that for a fact. And so that's what's happening? So I just think it's a bad message if you don't get out there. And by the way, it's a little... You can't get out there when you have a good season and surprise the world last year and not when you disappoint the next year.
Yeah, it's a little pick and choose your spots.
You can't do that. You got to be consistent there. So
apparently not.
Well, I guess you don't have to listen to me. You can do whatever the hell you want. But then I can say whatever the hell I want too in that situation. I just think they've left themselves to be judged a bit.
Yeah.
In that respect.
Like, for no other reason. Get out there and control the story yourself. Tell them what you want them to hear.
All right, I didn't plan to go 20 minutes on that, but there it is.
We are.
Yeah, you're a little upset about it, Brent. That's okay. Whatever it takes.
All right. When we come back, let's fire Nick Sirianni next and hire Bill Belichick. It is fascinating if McCarthy and Sirianni go, like, what's the right call there? I think that's interesting.
They just flip for each other.
But Vrabel, do you go try to steal a Tomlin? Is Belichick the right guy? Do you go try to get Carroll? Now that he says he still wants to coach a little bit.
PD.
Be an interesting one in Dallas, I think. Seems like he could handle that.
By the way, Pete Carroll may be the guy at the front of the table for one of the best NFL interview moments I've ever seen in my life. It's when DK Metcalf came in at the Combine interview with his shirt off, and Petey pops his shirt off. He's like, all right, we're doing this together now.
But you know what? Like, Dallas they could use a little
loosey-goosey, a little fun?
Well, I don't know about fun, but loosey-goosey, because they're tight, man. I mean, they were a tight football team like 5 minutes into that game.
Doesn't sound like that's up Bill Belichick's alley.
That's
loosey-goosey.
That's true. All right, a little matchmaker. We come back at ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Turning much colder tonight, so grab a coat as clearing skies and gusty winds drop temperatures into the 20s inland to the low to mid-30s at the beaches, but even lower wind chills by morning. Sunny for your Wednesday, but it'll be chilly, an afternoon high only near 50 degrees. From the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Start the year with a new or used vehicle at Nimnick Buick GMC. New year, new truck. There are trucks, and then there's the truck, the GMC Sierra. I love mine, and you can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s and enjoy rates as low as 0.9% APR financing. Try a Terrain or Acadia with rates as low as 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers. Used car? Well, try the Car Bravo program. Nimnick certifies all makes and models. NimnickBuickGMC.com or the showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC. We are professional grade.
Are you a real estate investor or have considered investing and want to know where you can put your money that offers solid returns and protects against market volatility? It's Rich Jones. I want to introduce you to DLP Capital, CEO and founder Don Wenner.
For more than a decade, DLP Capital has delighted our investors with consistent double-digit returns. Through the smart, conservative real estate investment strategy our company is built on, we have been able to achieve this with monthly distributions and tax shelters so our investors can keep more of their returns.
Dial *invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
Koala Insulation.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation.
Are you feeling that cold floor under your feet or those drafty rooms? Does your heat turn on and off all day long just to try to keep that home comfortable? It might be your insulation.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Hey folks, now that the kids and grandkids have gone home and the decorations are coming down, I can see that it's time to get my carpets and sofas cleaned. That's where Zero Res comes in. Zero Res can clean the carpets, the sofa, the chairs, the area rugs, and even the tile and grout. Google Zero Res and see what your neighbors are saying with over 5,000 five-star customer reviews. Right now, get 20% off carpet cleaning and 20% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Okay, everyone, gather around. It's time for corny jokes about passing the torch.
The team at Kirian's Welding was fused together solid.
Thanks for all the late nights and early shifts.
But double retirements mean the crew must bond with some certified new hires.
You've both gone the extra millimeter.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, is this line secure?
Franco's cybersecurity firm secured a contract, and that's all we're allowed to say.
We have a green light on hiring.
He needs web security professionals with a military background.
3 teams of 4, 24-hour rotations, but Protocol Zulu is on a need-to-know basis.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690, and you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. We should have done like a mock Bill Belichick interview today. How would that go?
We can do that tomorrow.
I mean, I was all ramped up to do the mock Trent interview. I got to now study Bill Belichick.
Just wear a hoodie and don't say anything.
I'm just preparing for the offseason.
It is. Did you guys see? I think I tweeted about Dan Quinn. He's got like 5 interviews in 3 days.
Yeah.
Hey, are these really interviews? Like, how good can you be in that interview setting, especially coming off the season? Like you weren't. I know you've got something prepared. That's the way their business works. They've got it ready to go. But I don't know. I wonder what happens in those interviews.
I have a feeling, and I could be way off on this, I have a feeling the coaching carousel is going to move fairly quickly this offseason.
You do?
I think it's going to be 2 or 3 dominoes, specifically Belichick, Quinn. I'm starting to lose faith. Vrabel is one of those dominoes, but I thought he was when he got fired. Maybe Ben Johnson. And then I think everything falls into place right behind him fairly quickly.
Well, you're going to have to wait potentially on Ben Johnson another 2 weeks.
Just a week.
Nah, 2.
Just a week. No, actually, definitely 2.
I know.
Because they're beating the Bucs.
Yes.
Why? Bucs just routed.
They're beating the Bucs.
They're beating the Bucs.
Bucs just beat one of the best teams in the NFC.
What a break, by the way, for
I know.
Really, like everybody got a break. I mean, the Bucs got a break because they got a bad Eagles team, not the 10-1 Eagles team, and the rest of the division, rest of the conference got a break. I think Dallas was dangerous.
Well, the break that Detroit, they only have to play 4 quarters outside the rest of the way to win Super Bowl, and they're bad outside. If they can play 4 good quarters outside, home, outside, dome for the Super Bowl.
You think Campbell's doing the same message in the locker room? Guys, we just need 4 good quarters outside. What do you got?
It is against San Francisco, too.
Okay. They need 4 great quarters outside.
Yeah, 4 great quarters might be it.
Did you guys hear Kyle Shanahan's comment about preparing for Green Bay, shoving the dagger into Dallas's corpse a little hard after the game?
At the halftime, basically.
Yeah, he said he's been preparing for them since the halftime of his last game.
It's like the same system, too, isn't it?
That's wild.
I just thought it was pretty funny.
So seriously, Belichick interview, like what? That he controls the interview, right? Do you think anywhere Belichick goes to interview, they're not like, here are the keys?
Yeah, essentially, you are the number 1 choice. Like it's your interview to lose.
Can you imagine bringing Belichick in and then picking like Ben Johnson over him?
Well,
it would seem pretty tough.
I can because, listen, I think if you go in with that way, like, oh, Belichick here, we'll just give you the keys, you go, that's how you screw it up.
I guess.
He could certainly mess it up with his responses.
Look at the I would say look at the team you built without Tom Brady. These boys stink. How are you going to screw that up for us? That's what I would ask.
Well, you got to work with the GM, right? I mean, so I think it's more personality matchup that you're working on as an owner. Like, who do you have as GM? Who would you have as GM? Like, because I don't think you're giving all the reins to Belichick, to your point, because I think that looked like it didn't work.
Okay, but any owner or GM or front office staff who's involved in the interview that has been in the football world is in a room with Bill Belichick, starstruck.
Yes.
They're looking at this guy as the best coach in the world.
I know.
And it's like, whatever answer he's got, they're going to be, oh, that's great, Bill.
That's hard.
Yeah, I just think if you play that card, you're in danger because, like, what has he done the last couple of years to earn that?
Well, let's be honest.
Because he's not coaching in 2006. He's coaching in 2024.
Yeah. Tell him, Case.
I think you're right. Now, they have to know it. But here's the deal, man. Shad Khan, that's exactly what happened with Urban Meyer.
And did it work?
No, I know, but it does happen.
No,
like, you get enamored with a guy that guy can save you, that guy can bring you to the mountaintop. Here's the one that I don't see fit. Like, I know people are saying Belichick, that they had everything going already when Dallas was losing. I just don't see Jerry Jones and Belichick running that show. Like,
I see.
I could not. You think Belichick is going to sign up to hear the owner talk about the game 20 minutes after the game every week?
Yes, he doesn't have to.
I don't think he has to, yeah.
I don't think that's the way he's looking at it.
And it's not like Jerry Jones hasn't worked with big personalities.
You look at that as like too much oversight.
He's the GM, the owner.
I mean, Kraft was behind closed doors.
But you're also talking about a situation where Belichick was in charge of personnel, and he knows that's not the situation this time.
Yeah, I actually think the situation works perfect. He can just coach football. He doesn't have to do anything else. He doesn't have to talk to the media. Doesn't have to be the face because he's not.
He's got all the resources in the world.
Doesn't have to pick the team.
Gorgeous facility. Skilled players on the team. You got probably the best quarterback in the league. You got probably one of, if not the best wide receiver in the league. You got a great offensive line.
I do think the roster is appetizing. Phenomenal. Absolutely. I get it. I think. I don't think Belichick's looking at the Jerry Jones thing the way you're looking at it.
There was a report today that said Belichick prefers an underachieving team.
Yeah.
So Dallas, perfect.
Kasey made the point. That's what he had in New England.
That's actually the Chargers.
That's what them boys had.
Chargers or Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta, I think, is a hot to trot.
Okay, but Dallas is also underachieving.
Yeah, but
They're
they have
supposed to go to the
3
Super
straight
Bowl.
wins, 12 seasons. They just have their expectations are super high.
That's way more interesting. I don't care what the report says. Bro's trying to win and one up Brady. You're not going to the Chargers to win the damn Super Bowl. You're going to Dallas to win the Super Bowl.
It does. I think. Is that the most ready team that he could go?
It seems that way.
Well, what if Sirianni got fired?
Oh, you mean go to the Eagles instead?
Yeah.
Well, you've got some inherent problems on the Eagles I don't think you've got on the Cowboys.
I agree with that, too. I don't think the Eagles are they've got a lot of talent, but I don't know if that's as fun of a situation to walk into.
No, man. Everyone outside of
Dallas.
Belichick should want to go to Philadelphia. I can't think of a coach who wouldn't want to go there.
I think, I think it's perfect for Philadelphia. What they need is Vrabel.
Vrabel with like a Wink Martindale.
I think Vrabel would be really good.
Nastiest, filthiest defense in the world.
You would never get a yard on the boys.
Oof.
Should Sirianni be fired?
I do think he should be fired.
What?
Listen, I was on the other side of this, and then I sat on the fence for a little bit, and I'm coming down off the fence on this one. For the reason I said earlier in the showcase, you've got a situation, Brent, where you don't know who your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator are. How can you get top-flight guys when the head coach has got 1 year remaining on his contract and he almost didn't make it? You're not signing up the top guys to do that. That's a lame duck administration.
Which is why you should want to go, because you're next.
It's why I think they get rid of Sirianni and start over.
No.
Yeah, I actually do. Listen, I'm not a big fan of just firing everybody like everybody said, but and this one feels different. And maybe I've just always kind of thought he's a little kind of a clown from a head coaching standpoint. I don't think he holds himself well.
Shanahan's next. Let's go.
But I do think some of that's not, I don't like that. Like the image I have of Sirianni, I'm concerned if I'm their ownership, if I'm their leaders. I'm like, I don't know, man. This thing, can he handle all this? He panicked maybe and changed the defensive coordinator stuff. He could never find the right mix after. We have a good team, like a good enough team to do better than we did. So I feel like it's different than, say, here in Jacksonville when you're talking about something like that. Then there's the other reason I would say is I think you're going to lose a lot of the core older guys, maybe not a lot, but some. And it's a little bit of a reset, but you're still pretty good. So, like, you still have good players, but you also need a reset. And if you're going to reset, then why don't you just reset everybody? Because I think you're actually right. Like, if you bring in coordinators, it might be just a one-year thing if it flops again.
Yeah.
So,
or even if it doesn't, you just may not bring back Sirianni, and then he may be part of the reason you came there in the first place.
In a way, I think it was asinine that Doug got fired after 2 years after winning the Super Bowl. So this one would even top that.
Bro's he's never not made the playoffs.
I know. It's crazy. I read somewhere, though, it's not unprecedented. I think it was Denver, John Fox. He went 4 years to the playoffs, went to the Super Bowl, lost the next year, got fired.
By
Elway. They won the Super Bowl the next year. Who won the Super Bowl with Manning?
Gary Kubiak, I think.
Oh, Kubiak. That's right. Yeah. So,
but I think Fox and Elway had issues with each other.
Well, they probably did, but
they had beef.
I do think, like, I think Roseman and Lurie, this is going, if they do move on, it shows they're very emotional. They're too emotional.
What? All right, I'm emotional, damn it. But how do you go into that interview if you want to be a head coach? Bro is 34-17, never not been to the playoffs. So if I'm in the interview, I'm like, so what do I have to do to not get fired? Because you fired Doug for winning a Super Bowl. This bro's never not been to the playoffs. What do I got to do here? Like, it's just terrible.
I think you got to be careful of that. But they also have a very good team, and it's a job.
Kelce retiring. He's 36 years old. Julio Jones was a rental, but he's 35. Lane Johnson, 33 and a half. He's going to be 34 next year. Mariota's on the team at 30. LaRaven Clark on the team at 30. That's just the offense. The defense has guys like Fletcher Cox.
Darius Slay.
I mean, you have some older guys on there who are either retiring at the end of this year or kind of should be pushed out. But you do have some young talent, especially on that defense.
Yeah, they do.
And
they
even
have the
on
whole
the
Georgia
offense
Bulldogs
between Jalen
defense.
Hurts and Devonta Smith. Like, there are tools there. I think any coach should want to walk in on that Philly game.
I agree with you. They are, but you're going to lose some of those guys, that heart and soul stuff. Maybe even the Fletcher Coxes, the Darius Slays, the
what Pittsburgh
Byard's
just
another
went
one,
through.
by the way, that they brought on.
Yes.
He's older.
Yes.
So, like, there's some. This is not all set in Philly by any means. I would say, and you know what? You know what's fun? Like, you watch Jalen Hurts play. He plays like he's 40.
Brandon Graham.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts has definitely got something broken or torn.
Yeah, he does. He's got
There's
to
no doubt.
And that might be a great excuse for Sirianni. I mean, he played through it. He does not look himself.
Excuse? It's okay. All right.
Well, I'm just saying, if you said going into the meeting.
If this bro gets fired, it is criminal. Criminal.
I don't think it's criminal. I do think he's earned his way.
You think?
Like, he's been successful. But again, if the team collapsed and it had anything to do with him, you do have to do something as
But
an
yeah, they know
organization,
that
front
heartbeat a
office.
little bit more. What kind of feedback are they getting from players? Like, do they think he's a little bit I mean, Jalen Hurts had to put his arm down when he's pointing at the scoreboard against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. He's yelling at fans walking off the field. Since then, they're like 2-5 or something.
Yeah.
You know, I think you got to worry about a little bit of that stuff. If there's more of that inside the building, we don't know that. Yeah, take us to some Eagles Cowboys tweets. What do you got?
All right. I was going to start with some Jags, but you want Eagles Cowboys. We could start with Rich Eisen. Because I really enjoyed this piece of content from Rich Eisen. It really outlines for you how this is an every year tradition. For only the 5th time in the Super Bowl era, a division has set multiple teams to the playoffs, only to have both teams never hold a single lead in losing one and done. This year's Cowboys and Eagles are the first to do it since 2021 when the Cowboys and Eagles did it.
All right.
So you're sitting here talking about Sirianni, but like, I mean, there's a history with these franchises. You can only stall for so long when you're doing it. Go ahead, Case.
No, I got an answer for that because you said 21.
I'm not saying that these front offices or coaches or players are responsible for that. I'm saying if this is the history of the franchise, then you can't be patient with a problem that keeps repeating itself.
It's not a repeating problem. They goofed. Bad end of the year. Not arguing that. This isn't a repeating problem. In 3 years, bro went from we don't know if Jalen Hurts can play to Jalen Hurts is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the sport. We went to the Super Bowl. Yes, we should have won it. We didn't because we couldn't tackle Kadarius Toney or get a damn stop in the fourth quarter against the Chiefs. And yes, we had an epic collapse. I get all that. But I don't understand how you fire dude. I really don't. It makes no sense.
If the Eagles weren't 10-1 before going, what was it, 1-7?
Yes.
Or 1-6?
Something like that.
1-7. Let's say it was a little more even on the way down, and you were like 9-5 at one point, 9-6, and then 10-7, whatever. Like, I think that's a different conversation with Nick Sirianni if it's not this ridiculous collapse where you can't buy a win.
But I think I can blame Howie Roseman a little bit. Listen, we got old. Like, I can go in there. My quarterback's hurt. We got older quicker. Than it goes fast. Like, what were we supposed to do about that? We're a tired team, and we could never fix the back end.
Played the most football last year, and then we're trying to do it again
But
this
they're
year.
getting a lot of heat today, coaching-wise, just about not being able to have a good blitz plan and stuff. Everybody's all over that.
You mentioned this Trevor Lawrence. You mentioned this Trevor Lawrence stat earlier today. I wanted to make sure we talked about it here.
I'm going to give you a Jags related to the Cowboys stat as you pull that up.
Okay.
So I think the one floating around was the Jags have 3 more playoff wins than the Cowboys since 1996. So I went back and looked up regular season wins. I did quick math on it, but I think it's 52 more wins in the regular season over that time by the Cowboys. Now, what surprises me is I thought it would be like 100. But the Jags get buoyed by their late 90s run.
Now,
97, 98, 99, where they had like double-digit wins every year.
But to the point about fan dissatisfaction, Case, would you have rather been a Cowboys fan this whole time or a Jags fan this whole time? Based on the success of the franchise.
Jags.
You lie.
That's a great question. Actually, I think that's tough, man.
Onto the radio, you lie.
You would rather be Dallas the last 2 decades?
I would rather not have a franchise get the first pick 2 years in a row.
That's part of me.
Okay, but
I'm a loser. I have to be with the losing teams.
Yeah, exactly.
It's uncomfortable when the Jags start winning. I feel like
think it's a fair question. I think that's a fair question, though. I mean, do you want the highs of winning playoff games? I mean, this team in that stretch, I mean, had some great playoff wins at Pittsburgh, 10 minutes away from a Super Bowl.
Yep.
The Cowboys haven't sniffed that, it hasn't felt like.
Nope.
That was a great time.
Trevor Lawrence under center in 2023, 22nd in pass attempts under center, first in yards per attempt. When he's under center, he throws pretty well. Trevor Lawrence in the shotgun in 2023, 5th in pass attempts, 21st in yards per attempt. What do you think this means, guys?
Well, I think
out of the gun.
It's a fascinating discussion. Probably needs bigger than a couple minutes, but I think that's what you're seeing. Start looking around and look at the numbers and the metrics and the teams like C.J. Stroud, who are under center, Not primarily, but more than others, okay? Not everybody's – I think Purdy and San Fran under center quite a bit. The Jags are not. And this is like the new age quarterback where they want to be out of the shotgun, survey everything. But it makes it more difficult to break tendencies, I think. And also makes it more difficult to run play action the way you want to run play action. And therefore, it makes it more difficult to hit shot plays because shot plays come off play action, usually. I think it's something the Jags really have to look into. I think that number, it's a very small sample. But do they need to increase the sample and put more of it in the game if you look at other teams around the league? I think I saw somebody else saying this about Joe Burrow, where he hardly is under center. But it benefits the quarterback if he can be under center more. So why wouldn't you at least attempt to do it? I remember this conversation when Blaine Gabbert was drafted. People were like, can he even take a snap? Because he never did it. He didn't run that pro-style stuff. But Stroud ran more of that pro style at Ohio State. He can run under center, and you're seeing the benefits of it, I think, this year. Again, there's not one answer to all this, but I think the data showcases, Aaron, that the Jags need to attempt to be under center more for the threat of the run. And I wonder if they couldn't because people knew they weren't going to run anyway.
No, and I think the yards per attempt actually get hampered by the amount of screens from the shotgun that are intended to be running plays if we were able to run traditionally. But I do think it's interesting, and it makes you wonder what this team's offense would have looked like with different pieces in the middle.
That's just wild. It's a wild stat that they can't really put the quarterback under center.
I mean, a lot of teams suffer from the same issue.
But it's just wild to me.
I know. It does seem
it's
like
how the sport was born.
Yeah, it's such an elementary thing, but these guys, this goes back to kind of what I was saying. These guys are so good in that 7-on-7 landscape when you're seeing the field that way. Think about what you have to do under center,
yeah,
right?
I get it.
Like you're under center, you've got to get back to a spot. Your back is actually turned, so therefore you don't get to dissect and see what the defense just did at the snap. Like they're not used to that. That's a lot more processing that has to go. That's less simplification. I still think you got to try to incorporate it, though. I'm with you, Kasey. Like, if the numbers showcase this and you have to do more of it, why wouldn't you?
You got to.
Because you don't have time to throw.
That's fair.
Listen,
I think that's a big part of it,
Wawa's selling
Especially
pizza
for
a
the
reason.
Jaguars.
No, but a lot of times when you go under...
What did I hear about Wawa?
Wawa's selling pizza for a reason.
What's the
Why
reason?
are they selling pizza?
Because they know they can make money off it.
Okay.
They're not a pizza place, but you incorporate that because you can. Yeah, that's what these guys have to do because then you can protect more out of that formation as well.
But the analogy is asking Wawa to make concrete. You'd be like, we can make money off that, but we're not capable of making concrete at Wawa.
It's not that different.
Bro said they're making pizza at Wawa. That's why Trevor should be under center.
What?
It's actually really good. I don't think it's fitting, but I like where you're going with it.
We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
With stores in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwoods has the largest American Gym Society credentialed staff east of the Mississippi River.
Here we grow again. Terry Norvell here from the Young and Norvell Show announcing our new expanded hours as we are now on weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's right. You now have a standing lunch date with me and my broadcast partner, former Gators basketball star and current SEC network analyst Patrick Young, every weekday for 2 solid hours from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690. You supply the lunch. We provide the most compelling sports talk in town. Find out for yourself weekdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch the Young and Norvell Show on ESPN 690.
This year, I resolved to have a whole new view in life.
Nice. So what are we talking? New attitude? Maybe new glasses?
Nope. New windows and doors from American Window Products.
New view. I see what you did there.
They're Jacksonville's oldest family-owned replacement window and door company. Great prices, selection, professional installation. They look great, too. And you can save $250 off any entry door and free installation on 6 or more windows in January when you call 731-2247 or visit AmericanWindowProducts.com.
Thanks. I'll give them a look.
If you're the victim of a car crash, never rush to settle with the insurance companies and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anna Jar Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Jacksonville.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
Chronic pain can be very bossy. What do I mean? It tells you what you can or can't do. Sometimes it even has the audacity to keep you from working.
I missed almost 3 weeks of work, and I was no longer able to play tennis. The pain was really debilitating sometimes. I missed Thanksgivings.
Abby was ready to put the bossy bad back in her past. And that's when she discovered QC Kinetics and their non-surgical treatments for pain. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine with tens of thousands of satisfied patients, people who have experienced real lasting relief without drugs and without surgery.
It has just been the most life-changing, amazing experience. Not only life-changing, but career-saving. I get to continue to do the career that I love. I'm playing tennis again.
Stop letting that joint pain boss you around. Start with a free consultation at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Kinetico softener and drinking water system. Kinetico's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. This month, you can get 50% off a Kinetico K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Kinetico Premier Series softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is Brent Friends with Brent Martineau.
You don't even like your quarterback.
Kasey Kuhrts.
You don't even like your team.
And Aaron Schachter.
I don't even like myself, guys. Do you know me?
On Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Doing overtime tonight?
Yep.
Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton up. The
Next.
return.
The return. Yep.
What else we got? FSU basketball this week. I think tomorrow night.
Mañana.
They're playing better. You know, one thing we lost. When did Norvell get an extension? Was that Friday?
Yeah. Maybe Thursday.
The day before they named a bear.
It might have been Friday. Maybe it was Thursday.
Thursday, I think.
He definitely got some cash.
So did you see? I think I saw he's the third highest paid coach now.
Yeah.
That's
more than doubled his salary.
Dabo and Kirby. And I think there are a lot of other things that they got. That's a huge win for Florida State.
Of course, yeah.
And I think he also got a couple Alabama players over the weekend in the transfer portal. So he was it sounds like he was their first choice.
Yeah.
How about Jed Fish?
Yeah, not a name I thought I'd see again anytime soon, but I guess there you go.
And it's a wild thing to watch just stuff play out. So Baker Mayfield, what's this? He's only 6 years in the NFL.
What was it, 2018?
Yes.
That's nuts. It feels like he's been in the NFL forever. But take him. Now, look, 6 years, he's going to get a big contract. He's got his team in the playoffs. He's playing good football, best football of his life. He's on his fourth team. And it looks like he's got plenty of football left in him right now. Jed Fish was a guy that just didn't work out here. I think it was the biggest miss of the Gus Bradley era. He started with Fish. It was the wrong call. And a year and a half later, it was out, and then you start trying to plug and play, and you couldn't. I always heard, I think he was like, the system was too much. He didn't do a great job communicating it. It was what the guys would, now that was that end of it.
I think that's what Clay said.
Oh, yeah, that's what Clay said. Yeah. But now look, I mean, I don't want to sit here and disparage Jed Fish. I mean, he did a great job at Arizona, and he's high on the list at Washington. Now he's going to go get, so he found something. He grew a little bit. I guess these guys just don't stay the same, and I give him credit for that.
Sure.
I was thinking this as we go. Did the Browns make a mistake not sticking with Mayfield? And I forget the temperature on that, but basically the fans all wanted him gone, right? You had to move on.
There were issues as well. He had issues with the coaching staff. He played hurt.
The OBJ stuff.
OBJ, he had a feud with him, but the playing hurt thing is what did it. His numbers were poor that year. They missed the playoffs, came out after the fact. He had been playing all season with an injury, and no one cared. They were ready to move on.
And then they got this disaster.
But Joe Flacco wasn't a disaster.
No, not that disaster.
Oh.
The real disaster in Cleveland. The disaster that Joe Flacco made people forget Deshaun Watson's their quarterback.
Deshaun Watson's their quarterback. Oh, yeah.
That's a disaster.
But it is pretty wild to see if they had just been patient. Do we get this Baker Mayfield eventually?
I think you had it in Cleveland. I was saying in case, it kind of reminds me, his season in Tampa this year, it reminds me of the first playoff season in Cleveland before they won. I think he won like 11 games with them or something.
It's not pretty, but it gets done.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He's a winner.
The job gets done.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think sometimes you got to get through the noise of that. Can you stand through some of that? A lot of times you can't. The noise from the outside is like, we got to move on. We got to move on. They might have been better off sticking with Baker Mayfield.
Great.
Thanks for getting the first hour, boys. We'll do it again tomorrow. I might be here for the whole 3 hours.
What?
Maybe.
I'm leaving. I'm scrubbing all mentions of ESPN 690 from my socials.
Thank you, A.J. Brown. Brent Friends on ESPN 690 tomorrow. Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton next.
With stores in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwoods is the longest-standing member of the American Gem Society in the state of Florida.
Let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Do ball!
Have a good night, everybody.
The Florida sun is burning bright and coastal waters are sparkling. You need a boat. Come to the Jacksonville Boat Show, January 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Don't miss killer deals on boats and accessories, plus fishing seminars, kids events, music, and fun. The Jacksonville Boat Show, presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at boatjacks.com. That's boatjacks.com. Buy a boat.
The January weather has been fluctuating, those temperatures dipping down in the evenings and mornings. Is your heating system safe to use? The team at Bold City Heating and Air specializes in system revitalization and optimizing your system so it runs safe and at peak efficiency. Schedule your winter system checkup for only $49 at boldcityac.com. Bold City Heating and Air can help you save hundreds of dollars on your energy bill, too. Get the checkup, save money, and make sure your AC unit is safe for all the weather conditions. Schedule online at boldcityac.com.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida.
with nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi, ESPN's reporting. Mike Tomlin told Steelers players and coaches today he plans to coach the team in 2024. This the day after he walked out of a news conference when asked about his contract. Pete Carmichael Jr. out as Saints offensive coordinator after 18 seasons. Dolphins GM Chris Greer indicated he hopes to sign quarterback Tua Tagovailoa to a long-term extension. Tua started every game this season, led the league in passing yards, but he might not be able to help deliver a Lombardi trophy to Miami, according to Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp.
I just don't believe his ceiling for the Dolphins is a Super Bowl. Things basically have to be really ideal for you to maximize his ability. And with that, the maximization and things having to be ideal, that's asking an awful lot because in football there are things that's going to be less than ideal.
NHL Golden Knights leading scorer Jack Eichel week to week after surgery to repair a lower body injury. Julian Lewis, top high school football player in the class of 2026, told ESPN he plans to reclassify and enter college in the class of 2025. He committed to USC in August.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit progressive.com.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Make a change for our next generation. Apply to become a mentor for at-risk youth in Jacksonville at the Malavia Washington Youth Foundation. Call 904-359-5437 for more information. Again, that's 904-359-KIDS.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
show's still on the air? Who would have thought? I thought for sure we got canceled. But here we are. The music started playing. We got a minute into it, so I knew it was about time to go. How about that? Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton on the air once again. They can't stop us, Brian.
You want to bet?
Nope.
You want to?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
No, sir. I do not want to bet.
Let me get on my app real quick. Finally win one of these bets.
Now you
Can
losing
they
too,
stop
huh?
us? Can the people here stop us?
Oh, they can stop us, but they haven't yet. What's up, Brian?
Oh man,
I missed you.
Oh man,
I bought it.
Can't wait.
I'm the idiot.
Can't wait. Let's get all the formalities out the way.
All right.
Miami is to Dallas. It's to Dolphins. It's to Cowboys.
I bought it.
It's
I'm
to the
the
Philadelphia Eagles. Add them in there too. Miami is to Dallas. It's to Philly. It's to Eagles. It's to Dolphins. It's the Cowboys.
I bought it. I'm the idiot. Yeah.
Oof.
So the one thing that I feel good about is I never believed in Dallas. Never had them high in the. I was never in on Dallas.
You had them high. Don't do that. Yeah, I'm glad you changed that statement. Yes, you did. You've had them high in the power rankings.
Yeah.
Come on.
I never believed in them though, and I said that. I believed in Miami.
Boy,
So now you can play the thing. I bought it. I'm the idiot. Clearly, I believed in Philly. You can once again play the thing.
You big dummy.
Right. So I'll take those two. I won't take Dallas. Everybody knew Dallas was a mess. And it was bound to happen. I checked the records on Friday. You said you were listening out in Arizona. I picked the Packers to win. I bet the Packers to win. I did it. I'm not the idiot for that one. Miami, though, yeah, I was wrong. I thought they were good all year.
Miami Dolphins. I'm getting all the drops in right now.
Bill Belichick your ass out of the stadium because he's sorry as hell.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys. You know what? Miami Dolphins one more time.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick your ass out of the stadium because he's sorry as hell.
South Beach Gary?
Bill Belichick your ass out of the stadium because he's sorry as hell.
Don't call up here about the Jags anymore. I mean, you can. We appreciate your call, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee, boy.
Bro.
Dallas Cowboys fans.
Bill Belichick your ass out of the stadium because he's sorry as hell.
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick your ass out of the stadium because he's sorry as hell.
All right, I'm done. Go ahead. I think I am.
Just, by the way, a quick recap of things that happened since we've last been on the air. Vrabel fired. Belichick gone.
It's been a minute.
Saban retired.
Yeah.
Everybody got extensions in college football for Saban leaving. Washington open. He goes to Alabama. Fish at Arizona to Washington. I don't know what's going on with Arizona. I don't really care. A lot of nonsense. A lot of playoff games have happened. GMs have been fired. Defensive coordinators have been interviewed.
I'm with you.
So
Everything
much.
but a new president. Yeah.
So much. That's how long we've been off the air.
One more, because he just popped up on TV. Nick Sirianni?
Bill Belichick your ass out of the stadium because he's sorry as hell.
Holy smokes, who knew his coordinators meant so much to the team? And I don't get it because they started 10-1.
Yeah. Yeah, we can start there.
You want to start there? You want to start there? Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm extremely passionate about this.
All right.
I don't understand that there's even a planet that they would consider firing Nick Sirianni.
No, of course not.
Well, it sounds like it's going to happen.
Oh, hold on. What's that mean? It sounds like it's going to happen. I walk me through that statement.
It's a good point. There are rumors that it's going to happen.
Okay.
That he will not be there, which I think is absolutely absurd. It did not end well. I'm glad you're on my side because these other two bums who were in here for 3 hours were not on my side. They feel like you should go. It was a collapse. Probably bigger than the Jags collapse.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Real bad. Not good. A lot of players that probably should no longer be employed. But the coach should definitely still be employed. Never not been to the playoffs. Went to the Super Bowl. Should have won it if they could tackle Kadarius Toney on a punt return. They did no such thing. They didn't win the Super Bowl. Fair enough. But I mean, it's a bit extreme for those on social and the rumors that you hear that he may be gone. I just can't imagine a world where that makes sense to me. I can't put it together. I think the record's 34-17, I think is what I said earlier. Again, 3 playoff appearances. Jalen Hurts went from a guy who was a second-round pick that didn't play to one of the highest-paid quarterbacks in the sport. Like, he's got everything but this year going for him. So I don't understand how that could even be a conversation. But to what you said is absolutely true. Boy, them coordinators meant more than anybody wanted to give them credit for. Which shouldn't surprise us because Shane Steichen is a good head coach. Colts were good for no reason.
And though really inconsistent in dealing with the same level of quarterback issues, maybe even more than Indy, but at least the very same level of quarterback issues. So I guess it's not necessarily an excuse when you see what Indianapolis and like Houston have done this year with young QBs or backup QBs. Arizona at times, especially in December, in the end of the year,
when Kyler was back and familiar,
have been playing teams well enough where you look at Arizona, you're like, okay, that should be a win, but why is this still a game in the third quarter and the fourth quarter? So, you look at these coordinators and what they've done now in the first year of head coaching at Steichen. I mean, geez Louise, right? Mm-hmm. But even my man, I keep forgetting his
Jonathan
name.
Gannon.
Yeah, down in Arizona, I got to be real with you.
It went better than anybody thought.
Who knew? Who knew? I didn't know. I didn't know that they were like that until you see a team. And I guess I really still didn't believe once Philly was 10-1. Not that I was necessarily thinking, the coordinators there, they just threw new people in. It's really the head coach. Got to be real with you. Feel like they would have figured that out. Feel like something may have happened last year. I know they lost a couple of games when Jalen Hurts got hurt. Now, I guess now it's not last season. Well, it is last season still. When he got hurt last regular season and lost a couple of games, I don't remember there being any much in the way of a lot of struggle for Philadelphia in the regular season, the year, last year, their Super Bowl run year. But who knows how much of that is they started getting beat. They started getting worked in one game they may have won, and the coordinators adjusted. So, as far as him, Nick Sirianni being fired, Kasey, I think it's ludicrous. I think it's crazy. I think it's terrible. All of those concepts. Because if you think that Nick Sirianni should be fired, then you think Doug Peterson should have been gone right behind Mike McCarthy. When we're talking about a team with expectations that dropped the ball for the second half of the season, even if you don't want to put it all on Doug Peterson. So who's leading the hot seat race going into next regular season, though? Nick Sirianni might be 1A or 1B.
No, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I won't argue that. But to sit here today and say, yeah, he hasn't done enough to still be our coach is insane. Because and I understand Bill Belichick's available, but who are you getting? And whoever you're interviewing is walking into that interview going, so let me get this straight. 3 straight playoff appearances and a Super Bowl appearance get you fired here? So how can I possibly keep this job?
Well, how much you paying? Because you got to pay me everything on the contract.
My 1 year better be like $600 million because I know I'm not getting to year 2 unless I win the Super Bowl. What a mess. But
boy.
All that being said, Philly did collapse. Jalen Hurts is clearly hurt, I would think. I think we're going to hear more about that. There's got to be, and this is obviously not a report. This is me saying it looks like something's either torn or broken because he can't run. He can't move. And that's the whole thing. So it just did not end well for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm stunned. I'm not stunned after last night's game because it was trending in that direction for the last few weeks. I'm stunned at the cliff that it fell off of. From Super Bowl to, again, I'll continue to say this until I am no longer talking. They should have won the Super Bowl. They couldn't stop him in the second half, and if they tackle Kadarius Toney on the punt return, I don't think Kansas City's in situation to take the lead. All right? And then you come into this season and are world beaters against everybody, and then you just can't do it, any of it. No football. You can't run it. You can't throw it. You can't stop anybody. And on the off chance you can run it and throw it, you're not stopping anybody. And then when you happen to stop somebody, you're not running it or throwing it. Like, it's remarkable in the worst way what happened to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's very, very similar to what happened to the Jags. And that's even hard to believe at times. The Jags went and lost to Browning and Flacco and Tannehill and all of that. Maybe it is in this city as bad, if not worse. But the Eagles thing is wild. They do have things to address. There's no doubt. Their secondary might not be able to stop us. And I said that one time about somebody other team, and you didn't agree. Might have been the Celtics. But their secondary is not good. Bradbury, tackle him. Huh? Just tackle him on that play.
My fault. You clearly can do that. See the Super Bowl. You clearly know how to
pull him down.
You know how to do that.
They were so good last year. They weren't this year. It's just the point of the story. Jason Kelce apparently is going to retire. So that will be something they have to replace. They're going to have to replace pieces in the secondary. A.J. Brown deleted his whole social media for the Eagles. So there's stuff to fix. I don't think you add the head coach to that mix.
No. And Kasey, the secondary for Philly all year. We talked about it even when they were on power rankings. It would rear its ugly head. It would be like, the front seven, great.
Mm-hmm.
But that secondary is not the
good.
Super Bowl run secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, Kasey, a part of me is like, it's crazy. It was like a perfect storm. They had the injury to A.J. Brown. Something's clearly, you're not taking anything away from Tampa Bay, but yeah, I do think something's wrong with Jalen Hurts that you'll hear a report about in about a week and a half or something like that. It'll come out that, he went and had an operation on something that,
I believe that.
Oh, that's why he couldn't do what he usually does.
Move.
But it was a perfect storm of things as well, right? And the lack of execution, and they ran into Tampa, who is playing well and played well going into December, into the playoffs, on top of everything else, a confident Baker and dealing with that team. But, Kasey, even if they would have eked out home field advantage, even if they would have eked out the number 2 seed, I don't think they would have beat Green Bay.
No, of course not.
I think they would have got walked.
It would have looked very similar, I believe.
Yeah. So they got...
Because Green Bay just throws it. It's actually a worse matchup. Green Bay might have put up more on them.
I don't think that Green Bay runs quite the way that they did on Dallas on Philly. Maybe they do. I don't know.
But they throw it better, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Philly has about as many questions as the Jacksonville Jaguars and probably more. Because I am in the camp that I don't care if they made the playoffs. Their fallout, even being a Jags fan and trying to take my emotions out of it, the Philly fallout, way worse. Jags they were fighting for the 1 seed. They were not the 1 seed for 2.5 quarters of the season. They weren't deemed outside of San Francisco the favorites to get to the Super Bowl.
They were the conference champs.
There was a time, Kasey, where there was like, if you had to put odds on who's going to get to the Super Bowl, it'd be San Francisco and then Philly. You'd be like, well, no, wait a minute. When's the AFC team going to be in the mix of, the high chances to get into the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
They were 1 and 2 in, I don't know who's going to get to the Super Bowl, but it's going to be at least one of these 2 teams. And so I think Philly has a lot of questions that they have to answer, the same as the Jags have to answer a lot of questions. But it was impressive, and watching the way that Tampa walked them yesterday, I was like, someone gonna get fired. You say they got to replace pieces on the team, especially the secondary. Good. And Philly fans are like, good. The Philly secondary is like, good. Replace some of us.
They need it.
Oh, remember when y'all wanted Darius Slay? Remember y'all wanted that?
Here?
Yeah, you
I remember.
Man, y'all fighting for it.
I'm not going to back off of that. I remember.
Begging for him.
Nah.
He's probably was fine. He probably grades out great. I don't know.
No, he doesn't grade out great. I don't know. Looking back on it, I'd still probably do it. You missed Tyson Campbell for like 90% of the year.
That's fair.
All right, so we talked about Philly. Tampa deserves credit. Here's what's impressive about Tampa to me is the last 2 weeks have been must-wins. The Carolina game was anything but impressive to end the season. Last night was impressive, but it's more impressive to me because Godwin and Evans in the last 2 weeks have done nothing.
Right.
This is Trey Palmer, whoever that guy is. I think is his name.
6th-round pick or something like that.
There's some dude that had an over-under catch. I was looking at the prop. It was a half. Is he going to catch 1 football? He caught like 4 and scored. Rashad White is very good. Cade Otton getting peppered with targets. Like, they did that, and they play defense, don't get me wrong. But their offense, that offense did that. With Baker Mayfield, Trey Palmer, Cade Otton, and Rashad White. who NFL fans in the West Coast may have never heard of any of those people other than Baker Mayfield. So Tampa, although not getting it as much today because it kind of felt like Philly was going to complete the collapse, deserve credit. And then you can say, what happens if they get their top two $20 million receivers going? Maybe they can win again. I don't know, but maybe they can.
Kasey, you bring up a good point, and I'm not trying to do a hard transition, but hard transition just a bit.
Please.
What I appreciate about the playoffs is what I try to appreciate when I'm doing my my bets on March Madness when I go chalk. Because I don't watch college basketball, save for like the conference championship, like mid-February is when I start watching college basketball, trying to do like, a cram session so I can act like I know which 12 is going to be the 5 seed, right? But I go chalk.
Mm-hmm.
What I appreciate about the NFL playoffs is that
there is no chalk.
There was no chalk, but there almost was. There almost was. But the reason why there's not is because of one team. Dallas Cowboys.
So,
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Top 4 seeds in the AFC. AFC said, we got this. Don't worry about it. Going to be some good games. Going to be some blowouts. But when it's all said and done, we're going to give you the matchups that has proven to be what people probably want to see based off the regular season, the amount of wins, the way that we do seeding. NFC said, we got the same memo, and Dallas said, you know what we going to do?
Nah.
You gonna go on vacation. We got some friends down here in Jacksonville. They said they're trying to get to Cabo with the wives and whatnot. We got to get there. Michael Parsons said, I got to get up to Penn State real quick, try to talk to some of the recruits. We don't know what's going to go on with the head coaching carousel. I got to do some recruiting. I can't be playing NFL football right now. Dakota Prescott said, Mississippi State, huh? Show my face down there. They don't need to see me at Cowboy Stadium. 8-0. Sorry. I told you a hard transition.
That's fine.
8-0. And they won a bunch of games last season, too, at home. A bunch of them.
There's no explanation other than they're the Dallas Cowboys.
Man, Kasey, when look, I don't believe in Dallas, right? And I'm not going to go through the whole spiel talking about I don't believe in Dallas like I don't believe in competent management here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've said it multiple times.
You have.
I don't know what I believe in less. But come on, man. And when they started scoring in the second half, in the fourth quarter, and they were driving on their final drive, I was like, they better not get to 40. Because if they get to 40, then it's going to feel like it was a game. And it wasn't a game.
I know.
It was 48-16.
I kind of hate that part.
It was 40. Stop it.
They took their guys. Sean Clifford played for the Packers.
With like 7 minutes left.
With 7 minutes left, the Packers, the youngest team in the sport, on the road, took their quarterback out. It's unbelievable to think about. Against the 2 seed. In Jerry's world.
Against the 2 seed. You can't see it unless you're on a stream. Is air quotes, the 2 seed.
They took him out. They said, you don't need your helmet. We've got this guy that can go in and just hand it off. It's unbelievable to think about. And I was going to ask you.
Yeah, please do.
But this may be the answer. What's the most shocking thing that happened in terms of all the playoff games? And part of me is like, it's not shock. I picked the Packers. I bet on the Packers. So it wasn't shocking to me that the Packers won and Dallas blew it. It was shocking that they put up 40.
You know what? That was crazy, too. And I got to be real with you. Yes, Jordan Love made some throws, but there was some throws that looked like dunks. But since the guy was 45 yards open,
yeah, that's fair.
Since the guy ran a sneak play apparently called Snake in the Grass, it's a play we used to run in high school where it was like a trick play, then the guy be wide open.
Yeah.
Apparently, the guy was coming off of the sidelines after the ball was snapped,
it felt like it.
And the defense didn't account for him, and he didn't tell the ref that he was on the field because how are you that wide open multiple times?
Often, yeah. Houston's running that play, though, by the way.
Were you more surprised, or were you not surprised in guessing the winner because of what you believe the Pack could be, or what Dallas just has been all of your life and most of my life?
Yeah.
Just the bubblegum boys, it look good. Well, we know it ain't real. We know they not real. What surprised you more?
It was a lot of that because I didn't believe that Dallas was going to win. They just don't, right? So you have that, talking through how you place a bet, I guess. I didn't think Dallas was going to be able to do it. I didn't necessarily know that they were going to lose that football game, but I didn't believe in Dallas. So you go with that. But then when you talk about the actual football part of it, the Packers are young. And also, young goes with emotional a little bit. Them boys are on fire. Them boys are in the emotional roller coaster. They had to win down the stretch. They needed things to happen, and then they took care of their business. So you're kind of riding that to where Dallas has been fighting for the division a little bit, but I don't feel that way with Dallas. So I thought the emotional edge went to Green Bay even on the road. I thought it was very easy for LaFleur, if he chose to play the nobody's given us a chance card, because nobody was giving them a chance card besides me. But then actual football-wise, the Cowboys, who have a great defense, at times in their secondary is questionable, right? Deron Bland either makes a pick six or he gets toasted. That's kind of where that lives. The other side, Trayvon Diggs has been hurt all year, and the Packers have so many dudes that you've probably never heard of, right? But if you go look at the stats, Jaden Reed was great for them. Romeo Doubs early in the season was good for them. Christian Watson's supposed to be their number one. They were getting him back. Luke Musgrave coming back as well, who was supposed to be their one tight end. Tucker Kraft was playing well. Some dude named Bo Melton is making plays. Who is Mike Heath? I don't know, but he's open. Right? So I thought that could potentially play against Dallas. Again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I thought they were going to win going away.
Kasey.
Yeah.
Second only to, depending on what stats you want to look at, depending on what eye test you want to take. Second in offense only to Miami. And that became on a week-to-week basis the more the season went on. Miami was leading far and away, I think, for the first easily half of the season. Mm-hmm. And then you were like, oh, geez, Dallas, okay. All right, Dallas. Defensively, stat-wise, things that you could point at, yards allowed, QB pressures. Dallas would look up in the top 10 for a lot of stats that you would correlate with teams that should be able to win Super Wild Card Weekend at home as a 2 seed. All the things you're saying, good, great, I actually agree.
The last part was Jordan Love would get it out quick, so it eliminates the pass rush. But go on.
But Dallas, at this point, listen, I'm not a GM, won't ever be, I don't think, right? And this might sound emotional. I'm telling you right now. I get it, Mike McCarthy's gone. I'm telling you right now.
Probably.
Rain Dakota Prescott, Dakota Rain Prescott, however that order goes. I know I gave him props earlier in the season, even though I prefaced it with I don't believe in anybody there that has
still
a starting
probably going to be
helmet.
the MVP, by the way.
He is not your quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I don't care who you bring in, because you could talk about bringing in Bill Belichick if you wanted to, if that was a thing. Listen, Bill Belichick, not the QB whisperer.
No.
Okay? When he wins all his championships, he has the greatest ever at QB. So no, that's not what we need right now. Dallas, I'm sorry to tell you, and you got a decision to make, because I think he got, another contract extension or a contract.
They got to do something because his cap number's 60.
Or he could walk away in a year or something like that. I get it. He's not your quarterback. And Jerry Jones, I get it. He's old. You want to push one more time. I get it if he wants to stick with that. Listen, man, he's not your quarterback. You got to get somebody else in there. He don't got to be the huge name. He just got to be sure to not fold when the lights are on at home. At home, Kasey. This wasn't on the road. This wasn't in San Francisco.
I know.
I don't get it. One more thing. Let me ask you one more question.
Okay.
What's more impressive? To go back to Jordan Love. What's more impressive? That the Green Bay Packers now have had, granted, early on in his career, Jordan Love early on in his career, but now seemingly will only have 3 QBs over
whatever
I don't know,
the period is.
a long period of time,
Favre,
right?
Rodgers, Jordan Love. Yeah.
Jordan Love could potentially fall off, and this would be moot, but it hasn't happened yet, and he looks great. Or what the Steelers have done coaching-wise the last 40 years. I think that's what I looked up, or someone told me, with Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher and now Mike Tomlin, even though I guess that's up in the air to some people. What's more impressive to you out of those two runs?
I think that's a good question. Shoot, we're talking about coaches getting fired for going to the playoffs, so I feel like it's got to be Tomlin. Doug won a Super Bowl 2 years, got fired.
Yeah, Philly brutal, man.
And a lot of those Pittsburgh teams have been not good. Terrible. This Pittsburgh team, although they have some things that intrigue me, and I will be intrigued to see what they do in the offseason, this Pittsburgh team probably shouldn't have been a playoff team. You can thank the Jags for that, one. But they got down to Mason Rudolph and was winning. And I don't care what anybody says, that game was closer than it looks, right? Brent was in here saying it was never close against Buffalo. I get it, whatever.
Oh, whatever. When they
I thought it was close.
Push,
I thought it was close.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They needed a lot of things to go their way, but it feels like the majority of things have gone Tomlin's way in the last 20 years. So I think that, but then how many times do we see quarterbacks go in the draft in the first round, second round, whatever, and it just doesn't work? Think about Trevor's draft. Zach Wilson, it didn't work. Mac Jones, it appears it's not working. Trey Lance never played.
Probably should. Isn't he on Dallas?
He's on Dallas, yeah. So the idea that you go 3 or at guaranteed 2 straight, because we saw Favre and Rodgers, to now into Love and be right again is pretty unbelievable. And you can clearly tell, I think, everyone's making a lot of the throw that Jordan Love made with no feet on the ground. You can watch Jordan Love play and go, yeah, that's got Aaron Rodgers written all over it. Aaron Rodgers was doing more for this guy than anybody, I think, wanted to let on. That's what I take from watching it. I watched a lot of that. I'm like, yeah, that's Rodgers.
See, I was thinking more so Aaron Rodgers was the problem. I was saying Kellen Moore was the problem in Dallas for most of the season. I was like, who knew that Aaron Rodgers really was the problem? And my favorite Jordan Love throw, yeah, that was good. But I like the one. It might have been Kraft.
Oh, it was Musgrave.
Musgrave. It was the one where he just fit it in a tight window. The defender.
Oh, you're right. It was Kraft across the middle.
Yeah. In the end zone. But the Dallas defender, like, he had to get him going to his left, I believe, if I'm doing the directions the right way. Mm-hmm. And then he just flipped it back in there. And I was like, ooh.
He made some disgusting throws.
Ooh.
He does that. He's good, man. He's just really good. They made the right decision. And they probably, I think, watching it, made the right decision to sit him for the time they did. Maybe not as long, but to sit him, and I'm telling you, I watched that, I'm like, that is Aaron Rodgers, man. He learned stuff. And I know that sounds really stupid to say, because, like, that's what everybody should be doing. That's not the case.
It's not.
I watched that, I'm like, yeah, he learned from Aaron Rodgers. So, wild weekend. More to talk about. The Chiefs won. The Bills won. Detroit won. That was sick. That was good. Still a lot to talk about. We'll try to fit it all in the next segment. Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton, BRB.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Turning much colder tonight, so grab a coat as clearing skies and gusty winds drop temperatures into the 20s inland to the low to mid-30s at the beaches, but even lower wind chills by morning. Sunny for your Wednesday, but it'll be chilly, an afternoon high only near 50 degrees. From the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Smoked for hours, served in minutes. Now that sounds like good barbecue, and it is at Willie Jewell's in St. Augustine at Mirabella Crossing. Fast casual dining served up old school barbecue style with a heaping side of Southern hospitality. Need catering? They do it. Third-party delivery? They have it. Need a job? They have openings. Visit williejewels.com. Kids eat free on Wednesdays. Best jumbo wings in town and TVs for football season. Visit Willie Jewell's at Mirabella Crossing in St. Augustine. Old school barbecues, smoked for hours, served in minutes at Willie Jewell's.
Koala Insulation.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation.
Are you feeling that cold floor under your feet or those drafty rooms? Does your heat turn on and off all day long just to try to keep that home comfortable? It might be your insulation.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
The January weather has been fluctuating, those temperatures dipping down in the evenings and mornings. Is your heating system safe to use? The team at Bold City Heating and Air specializes in system revitalization and optimizing your system so it runs safe and at peak efficiency. Schedule your winter system checkup for only $49 at boldcityac.com. Bold City Heating and Air can help you save hundreds of dollars on your energy bill, too. Get the checkup, save money, and make sure your AC unit is safe for all the weather conditions. Schedule online at boldcityac.com.
Ready to turn game day into payday? Head to Aces Sports Bar in Best Bet St. Augustine for the ultimate win. Catch all the NFL and college football games on our big screens and play your hand at the tables. Plus, anytime a touchdown is scored, someone wins $100 during select games with Best Bet St. Augustine's Lucky Seat Cash giveaway. Visit bestbetjacks.com for full details.
Victim of a slip and fall? It takes one phone call to take back control of your life. Anajar and Levine will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Call me, Mark Anajar, for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Jacksonville. Start your year off stress-free and sell your home with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, there's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. One of our clients, Ben, said, "We never worry about showings or open houses on top of our really busy schedules. I would definitely recommend them to my friends and family." Find out what your guaranteed offer would be on your home. There's no obligation. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Introducing Pelicano by Redboat Tours. Get ready for the ultimate tour experience. Smooth, quiet, and oh so comfortable. Our brand new custom-built boat is fast, spacious, and handicap accessible. And here's the kicker. It comes with a killer DS18 sound system and a dance floor. Pelicano is perfect for weddings, office parties, neighborhood gatherings, family reunions, and kids' birthday parties. Don't miss out. Visit redboattours.com to book your unforgettable sightseeing tour aboard Pelicano today. Redboat Tours, where every journey is a celebration.
You know, people ask me all the time, why buy from Arlington Toyota? And when they do, here's what I tell them. Let's start with peace of mind. When you buy any new Toyota from Arlington, their lifetime warranty goes with you. That's unlimited time and unlimited miles. Plus, you get get 30 days to love your pre-owned purchase or exchange it for one you do. And you even get a complimentary car wash with your service visit. Now you know why you should buy from Arlington. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
It's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
This year, resolve to get a whole new view on life with new windows and doors from American Window Products. Save $250 off any entry door and free installation on 6 or more windows in January when you call 731-2247 or visit AmericanWindowProducts.com.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690.
Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton. ESPN 690. On a Tuesday, the NFL playoffs alive and well. Not for some teams. Some teams have been eliminated, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like the Miami Dolphins, like the Dallas Cowboys, and even the Philadelphia Eagles. All right. What do we make of the Buffalo Bills now?
I tried to tell you all about them.
I tried to tell you.
No, you didn't tell me. No, don't do that.
I had them like second in the power rankings. You yelled at me.
Whoa, you had them second in the power rankings when they were like 6-6. You were doing this Miami Dolphin, Buffalo Bill, AFC East
thing.
They were
hot. I told you they're the most dangerous team in sports.
They were 6-6. They hadn't started winning yet, Kasey.
They had just started. They were hot. Trust me.
No, they clearly weren't.
All right, what do we make of Buffalo? They're good. They're good.
They're great.
Well.
Nah, they're great.
Hell.
This is not me. Listen, I'm the biggest Buffalo criticizer out there.
I remember.
It's because I want to pull the greatness out of them. It's because I believe in them, but I don't believe them when they're front-running bullies, much like Miami was, much like how Philly was. When they're front-running bullies, and then when you face adversity, you can't seem to fight your way out of a wet paper bag. What Buffalo has done since the beginning of the offseason to now has been a soap opera times 10. Guiding light. Yeah. Days of our lives.
What's
to
Guiding
bold and
Light?
the beautiful.
How was Guiding Light the first one you said?
Did I say Guiding Light? That's it. That was the first one?
First thing you said.
I said Days of Our Lives was the second.
I think so. And then you said the Bold
and the Beautiful.
Was definitely third.
That's what the Buffalo Bills were.
My grandma been watching Young and the Restless
Young
for like
and the
60
Restless.
years. I don't understand how that wasn't first.
Young and the Restless.
Thank you. They ain't
You
very
know it's on
young,
my
though.
bucket list, right? If we ever get some kind of fame or notoriety.
To be in a soap opera is on your bucket list?
Yeah, not
It feels like it's not that hard to do.
It sounds like it's pretty hard to do.
They be killing people off on those shows constantly.
Yeah, I just need a reoccurring role, not an everyday role. Can't do that. Anyway, my point is this.
6 episodes max.
I got to be real with you, man. Buffalo has fought their way out of adversity, whether it be their diva, depending on your perspective is, their diva wide receiver, and his brother out in Dallas tweeting about you, whether it be the head coach has fought his way off the hot seat in a way that has been uber impressive.
They have not lost since Bro
said
some crazy
got
things.
wild about September of 2001.
Yeah.
I got to be real with you, man. Buffalo has faced all the adversity that I'm asked them to, power ranking after power ranking, and I got to be real with you. This is what you want to see on the other side of it. And everything is lining up for them to vanquish another demon in the Kansas City Chiefs, because now we get you at home. Now the refs, when they feel that pressure, ain't going to be from the Kansas City faithful to make a certain call in the fourth quarter. You ain't got Tyreek to beat us in an epic playoff overtime win. The Buffalo Bills are for real. And I can totally see them going to Baltimore or Houston or hosting Houston.
They ain't hosting Houston.
In the AFC Championship game. So I think Buffalo's for real, Kasey.
I think your winner of this one this week between the Chiefs and the Bills is your AFC winner. I do. I'm not the Chiefs. I'm not giving up on them. I've said it multiple times. It feels like it was going to be Chiefs-Eagles. I was dead wrong, but it still may be Chiefs. And you're right. They don't have Tyreek to beat them this time. But they do have a couple other things they didn't have last time. One is a defense.
Well, yeah.
They had no defense the last time, clearly. They got it this time. And they run the ball. And that's how Kansas City, I understand Rashee Rice went nuts. Apparently Mahomes threw it 41 times. It doesn't feel like he did, but apparently he did. That's the new, recipe, I think. I think that's how they beat Buffalo. They have to control the clock. They have to out-physical Buffalo because I think whoever runs the football wins. But I think Kansas City can do it better outside of the quarterback because Josh Allen's the weapon. You got to tackle him on that play. But the Kansas City defense will travel, road, home, wherever, and I think their run game is going to travel. So that's why I think this is a fantastic game, and I think Buffalo is red hot. So it'll be on Josh Allen to fight every single urge that he has to throw the football deep or try to make this play. Because hero ball against the Chiefs, you will lose. You got to do more of what you did. You got to run it. You got to check it down at times, and you got to let somebody else be the hero, right? Shakir breaks 2 tackles and scores for no reason on that play. He does make the play on the run. He doesn't go down. He runs somebody over, and they win. You just got to play that way. You just got to avoid the, Stephon Diggs might be open. I'm going to try here. You can't because you don't win those games, especially against the Chiefs. But Buffalo's dangerous. I agree.
If they don't turn the ball over, they're going to win this game. The same way they were
if they don't turn the ball over, they're probably going to win the Super Bowl.
They're that good. I believe in Buffalo like that now. Take that with a grain of salt, a grain of rice, a grain of salt, a grain of rice. No, it's salt. A pinch of salt. Take that with whatever that saying is.
It's definitely not a pinch of salt.
Okay, either way.
That's like a recipe thing. You give Kansas City credit for beating Miami, or just it was going to happen Kansas City's Kansas
I didn't
City?
believe in Miami. So, yeah, I appreciate the fact that Kansas City made it never a game. This is what we do.
That's fair.
And I appreciate the pedigree. So, Kansas City has a puncher's chance in all of these games because of who's their quarterback, who's their coach, and what they've done with the vast cornerstone of this team that's still there. So, yeah, and plus the fact you bring up a good point. They can run the ball. Pacheco, the run game and the defense.
It travels, man.
Are what you want in the playoffs in cold weather, in weather that has the elements. So, I appreciate Kansas City. Either way. Well, what are your thoughts on Houston and Cleveland?
I don't know. What a disaster, huh?
You were waiting for the bottom to fall out for Flacco and the Browns. There it goes.
I mean,
right there.
Yeah, but it's not as satisfying today because they played Houston. Because Houston's damn good. And they're only going to get better.
Maybe.
No,
we said that about the Jags. I refuse to believe about any AFC South team that has a good year and gets hot.
That's fair.
I have to wait and see.
I'll give you that. Here's what I have a feeling. Houston's not going to look at it and go, we can run it back. We'll be fine.
No, that's fair. Okay. Yeah.
That ain't going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to get better. You're right.
Yeah, they're going to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone wants to talk about C.J. Stroud. I'm not going to fight that. He's very good. Where they don't get the credit that they should is at head coach and what that defense looks like because of the head coach. They've got guys who I say you've never heard of. I know you have, especially around here in this area. You know guys like Jonathan Grenard who played for Florida. You know Will Anderson, he played for Bama. You know Christian Harris. But the NFL fan in Seattle and Arizona on the West Coast, maybe not. Those boys are good. Those boys were talented, and they needed like that guy, that direction, that leadership. They got it. They hit a double grand slam, which doesn't exist in the head coaching hire. He's perfect. It works perfectly. But what we said about that when the hire happened was you need to hit the offensive coordinator perfect because you have to develop C.J. Stroud. Well, they hit a double grand slam with that one too. Because it's not just C.J. Stroud being talented and making unbelievable throws, which he is. They're open. A lot of those plays in that game against the Browns defense, these boys are just wide open. That's scheme. Because these are the same dudes. We've seen the Texans every year, twice a year. I've never seen Nico Collins that open. All of a sudden, he's that open. Dalton Schultz, open. Devin Singletary was not good enough for the Buffalo Bills. Seems to be fine for the Houston Texans. It's almost maddening. It's definitely annoying in Jacksonville. Because that is the majority first, second, and some third-year players that are already this good. The thing about the Jags last year was you did have a lot of guys that you called like the core guys, right? The younger players, ETN, Trevor, Trayvon. You want to put Josh in there? I won't argue with you today. Cisco. Tyson Campbell was in there at that point. But you needed all of these other guys that you signed in free agency and you hit on. You're talking to Zay Jones. You're talking to Christian Kirk. You're talking to Evan Ingram, who are not older players, right? But they're not first contract, 1 year, 2 year in guys. That's Houston's whole thing with like one or two dudes. And they're like this. Houston is very dangerous. The Browns, to get to this point, I mean, unbelievable job. Coaching, Joe Flacco, everybody stepping up. They deserve credit for that. Now they go back to the disaster of Deshaun Watson, by the way. But the Houston thing is just so annoying here in Jacksonville because it projects well for a while. And I get you can say what you want about Jacksonville. I just have a feeling that's a team that's not going to go, we're good. We can run it back. We're probably good enough to win the Super Bowl. No. They're probably going to go, yeah, we can. We did this in 1 year. Imagine what we can do in 2. Jags didn't do that. So that's how I feel about that. And then shout out to the Lions, by the way. You happy for the Lions fans?
Absolutely, man. For the fans, I just meant myself because I picked Detroit to be in the NFC Championship game.
You did.
Giving somebody a headache.
I told you about Jared Goff. I told you about Jared Goff.
Yeah, I can't knock it. He was celebrating as if it was in the Super Bowl, though, when he, took that final knee. I was like, well, good for you, man. I was like, this is the wild card? It's the Super Bowl. It's in February 11th already? I'm like, put your hands down somewhere, man.
Yeah, I do wonder about that. We'll see how that plays out. Here's the thing. They got the ultimate gift. Detroit's fantastic at home. Dallas loses, they're at home again.
Well, they also got the ultimate gift on the missed PI on Puka Nacua.
Sure.
Where the dude tackled. I mean, dude was holding him while he was trying to jump.
Officiating's tough right now. It's not good.
Yeah, well, don't miss that one. Miss some. Don't miss that one.
There's a few.
Anyway.
There's at least one in every game. You're like, you can't miss that.
Yeah, but I'm happy for Detroit. And I'm happy for the Rams, man. They're going to be a team, I think. I mean, I don't know the contract situation that I think is trending upward if Sean McVay is still interested in coaching and, things of that nature. But Detroit, strong, man. Rams were a much better team than people want to give credit for. Better than the 6 seed.
Yeah, that's the part that doesn't get enough credit today, except for in L.A. That was a team that had like 30 dudes in the offseason. They didn't have a team. And to your point, Stafford gets paid a lot. We'll see what that looks like because it feels like Stafford could retire at any time. Dude gets beat up every time he plays. He went down on that play where he's holding his ribs. I was for sure he was concussed. He came back out.
Yeah.
Bro is the toughest dude in America.
He got hit twice and then someone stepped on his shoulder. I was like, yo, there ain't no flag.
Honestly, but this dude is tough. But outside of that, yeah, the Rams have to be thrilled because that core of Puka, of Kyron Williams, you're paying them next to nothing.
Oh, man.
You're paying Stafford a lot. I get that. You're paying Cooper Kupp a little bit. But even on defense, you're paying Aaron Donald. That other front is a lot of young players. Those boys are good. So it projects well for the Rams. But again, there's always weird stuff with the Rams. If Sean McVay still wants to coach, I think that's a good way to put it. If Stafford stays. If Aaron Donald stays. Like, they do have questions. But they should be thrilled with their season. Kind of like Cleveland. That's how I feel about both of those. Like, you should be thrilled with Rams because it wasn't necessarily supposed to be good. Cleveland because it was supposed to be great. Deshaun gets hurt. Nick Chubb gets hurt in week 2, and you survive.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, Detroit, you get the home playoff game in 1. You get the gift from Dallas. You play at home again where you're basically unbeatable. All you got to do to win the Super Bowl, because they're great inside, is 4 good quarters in San Francisco.
You mean that? Yeah.
Because the Super Bowl's in a dome in Vegas. You need 4 good outside quarters to win the Super Bowl if you're Detroit. So shout out to him for that. What a weekend. What a show. We're back on the air. Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton. We'll do it again tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. I want to eat a spicy chicken in my Tesla. Is it too much to ask?
With stores in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwoods has been serving excellence in Florida since 1928.